Hello. Are you hearing me, Steve? Apparently I can't hear you. Let me make sure I've got my sound going right. Input, the mixer, output, my headset. And I can, okay. Yeah, I hear you now. Gotcha. I just get paranoid because sometimes I think I've not set my inputs and outputs right. Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, I bet. Okay. Okay. Maybe if I post this now. Okay. Now let me go to this. Okay, Floodwatch seems the same. Excuse me. So it looks like that one thing is the only thing that's really different is that page about thunderstorms. Okay. Yeah. What's that? Oh, I haven't looked at that for a few minutes. A new thunderstorm warning. Okay. I'll just do that. Well, what I ended up doing instead of undoing like I said, this is either the third or fourth time he's called.
N0NWS repeater.
This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn. The National Weather Service in Springfield has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for McDonald County until 10 p.m. At 9:11 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Seneca to near Goodman to 8 miles northwest of Pineville to 6 miles northeast of Pea Ridge, moving north at 30 miles per hour. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail were the hazards. These were radar indicated. Expect hail damage to vehicles. Expect wind damage to roof sidings and trees. Locations impacted include Big Sugar Creek State Park, Anderson, Goodman, Pineville, Lonigan, Powell, and Rocky Comfort. This also includes Interstate 49 between mile markers 1 and 14. Torrential rainfall is occurring with these storms and may lead to flash flooding. This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn. Darn.
Dang it. But we can do that in a minute. There we are. We're live now.
Okay, Pineville.
We were just sorting out Franklin's humming and buzzing. I tell you what, we've got probably the big pressing issue. So let me do this in my Skywarn radio voice. The National Weather Service in Springfield has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Newton County until 9:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. At 8:59 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Seneca to near Goodman to near Pineville to 7 miles north of Bella Vista, moving north at 35 miles per hour.
This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn. The National Weather Service in Springfield has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Cherokee County and southeastern Kansas until 10:15 p.m. At 9:15 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Miami to Wapaw to 6 miles southeast of Baxter Springs, moving north at 35 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. This is radar indicated. Locations impacted include Baxter Springs, Columbus,
You are kind of quiet.
Galena,
Turn your mic gain up a little.
Weir,
No, I had my head turned is what it was.
Lowell,
Oh, okay.
Sherman,
Knock
Scamone,
you
West
out here.
Mineral,
I'm careful. I have
Treat,
to actually turn it down.
Roseland,
if
Neutral,
You're just
You know,
right.
Melrose, Riverton,
Right now, you're
Walton,
just right.
Corona, Skidmore,
Yeah,
Howell,
I'm actually
Wells,
watching my levels. And
Sherwin,
they're
and
peaking
Faulkner.
just a
This
little bit.
includes
So
Interstate
just
44
being a
near
little
mile
careful.
markers
That's
0.
okay. You're just fine.
Torrential rainfall is also occurring with these storms.
I'm watching the audio on this
Flooding.
side. I just wanted to make
This
sure
is
everybody was
KD0RSJ
the
with
same on
Southwest Missouri
Skype.
Regional Skywarn.
N0NWS
Trying
repeater.
to see if I can feed.
Were you saying I was low, or was it just Rodney?
Rodney was.
Oh, okay, cool.
We got him sorted out. So that was the next one.
Excuse me.
Let's see if this. Tell me if you guys hear this. I take that as a no. You didn't respond to anything. So.
No.
I hear nothing. I know
See
nothing.
I know
I
nothing.
see nothing, Hogan.
Oh boy. Ooh. Oh my. Look at there.
I did again. Microphone. Alright, let's see if this does. Still nothing. Your reactions say it all.
I'm just sitting here.
I don't know why. It's gotta be
I am like the French guy sitting outside a bistro on the Champs-Elysees smoking a garage like, life is terrible. Get to know this. It's bad.
Still nothing, huh?
Nope.
Yeah.
I guess I'll keep working on that. Well, first of all, this storm has been moving extremely slow. Is it just
Yes.
that in there in that corner?
Yeah.
It kind of has for a while.
Yeah, and it there's some little pop-up stuff going on in further to the east in Arkansas that will eventually cross the border.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of looking like
There's a couple little small cells around there in Alton, but they don't really look to be doing much. Maybe some heavy rain right around there.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's kind of far out on the radar. I don't think Paducah
Yeah.
would pick that up any better.
No, I think it's still in our watch area. It's either the county, the last county, or the next to the last county in the Springfield watch area. Excuse me.
Yeah, it doesn't even show up on Paducah. St. Louis, Kinda.
Yeah, that's Oregon County, so that would be the last one before it switches over to Paducah.
No, the no radar zone. That's also in North Missouri in Kirksville, the no radar zone.
Yeah, it'd be nice, and I realize it costs money, but it'd be nice if we had a little bit more, a few more radars, so that at least we don't have any areas that aren't covered now. It'd be lovely if we could have so many radars where we could have where the height of the beam whenever you get out towards the edge is not so high that you can't really tell what's going on down on the ground. In a perfect world, of course, we wouldn't have any of that, but of course then in a perfect world we would have no storms and no one would die, stuff wouldn't get damaged, and we wouldn't need radar.
All right, I got to show off some toys. Ooh.
Okay, toy time.
You guys seen this microphone before? Look at the bass.
Mm-hmm.
This is push to talk. It's an electro voice push to talk.
Oh, nice.
I don't even know who makes the bass. There's not a marker on it.
Uh-huh.
Says 4L on it. It weighs about 5 pounds. Pretty heavy. And then I don't know how I managed it, but I wound up with 2 of these. It says Electro Voice Inc. Model 606 Dynamic Noise Canceling.
You said 606?
Yep. Preferred by harmonica players everywhere because of its size. You can put it in your hand like this, and then play the harmonica
and kind of wrap
into it.
around it and the harmonica bow.
Now it's not a balanced mic; it's got a single coaxial hookup, and I do have a cable for it that's like coax, so it'll work pretty good.
It's kind of a cool looking mic head.
Yeah. Well,
it's just got like one round grill in the middle.
Yeah, a little tiny hole in the middle.
Cool.
And then the vent, there's a vent on the side.
Yeah, okay, I see that here in one picture, yeah. Cool.
There was somebody that on YouTube that was playing harmonica into it. Now I just need to sort out the gain issue on my mixer. Of course, this mic has been pretty good. I mean, for the cheap BM800 that you can get, you can buy this thing by itself for $10.
Oh yeah.
Of course, I got the kit. It
wonderful
was
job.
The kit with the arm and the thing, $20. I spent probably another, I don't know, 10 or 15 on a 48-volt supply, which I probably wouldn't have had to if I'd have got that mixer, because it has that as well. But if I use the crystal microphone, the Electret, I have to be Electret everywhere. But I do have a second mixer, the Disco mixer. But it has virtually no gain to it. That's the problem. So. Oh, and then this one. This needs a paint job, as you can tell.
Yes.
And it is a Calrad dynamic. Calrad 50K dynamic.
Cool.
don't even know.
I like the look of it.
Yeah, but it needs a paint job.
True, true. It kind of reminds me a little bit, not exactly, but kind of a little bit like the mic on the, we were talking about him the other day, the Kenwood MC50, 60, and 90. It's kind of a long mic, kind of like that.
Yeah. This would not work well on a Kenwood though, because it's high impedance. It's not low impedance, which means somewhere in there there's a transformer.
Gotcha.
So it's boosted the impedance level up. Ooh. I got a handle. If it'll stay up.
Huh? I have no idea what the deal is. We have been hearing like noises like crazy over here. I don't know if people are setting off fireworks or shooting guns or what.
I've been hearing it too. I don't know if you are on 417 scanner chatter, but they've been talking about it. It's like somebody's been shooting guns, but
NWS repeater.
you can't buy fireworks in Missouri yet. Maybe they're just blowing off the ones they had left over from last year.
Could be. Or, people who are determined enough, they'll find them somehow.
Mm. Mm-hmm. It says tornado radar indicated.
I
don't see it. Maybe. Could be right in that notch. About ready to cross 44. Right there between Miami and Quapaw.
I see Miami. I'm seeing something that kind of looks like it is. Is it kind of just to the east of Baxter Springs and south of Galena? Is that what you're seeing?
No, it's right where 44 crosses into Oklahoma, and you're into Oklahoma about 20 or 30 miles, maybe. It's in the upper corner there.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think I see it now. I was kind of looking at an area kind of about in the area where it crosses the border. But I think I see maybe what you're talking about now. It's kind of in between Miami and Peoria. Yeah. Okay, I see Quapaw now. Okay. Yeah, I see that area. Yeah, it kind of almost looks like, if you look at the reflectivity, that kind of heavy rain almost looks like it almost kind of makes a little bit of a hoop around. It's real strong around Quapaw, and then it kind of comes around by Commerce and Miami, and then kind of crosses the interstate and almost like a hook echo inside.
Yeah.
That storm, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
So I'd say if there's anything there, it's probably rain wrapped.
Yep. That little tiny tornado box. That's what that is, isn't it, Rodney?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm
That's-
going to reorganize my setup here. I always just feel like it's probably just me. I feel like I can't see everything if I don't have the radar on the big screen.
That's just about on top of the Unlucky Turtle Casino.
Unlucky Turtle?
Well, it's technically the
heard of
Lucky
this.
Turtle, but I never won
Oh,
anything.
okay.
It's like a gas station. The tribe has a gas station and casino. It's kind of like Vegas.
Gotcha.
It's like I went in there and dropped about, I don't know, $5 worth of quarters. It just lost my butt.
Gotcha.
It's payback for being ahead down in Mississippi is what it is.
Ah.
I'm about, I don't know, $17 ahead in Mississippi, so it's going to bleed me dry a little at a time.
Well, that's what happens when you get lucky.
Yeah, we went into the Lucky Lady down in Gulfport, Mississippi. And the only reason why we went in there was for dinner. And they had a huge buffet. It was awesome. The whole thing cost me and my ex about $17. What I do, walked out, literally stepped across the line into the casino from the cafeteria and dropped a quarter and won a $17 hit. And so
This is KT0R
I cashed it out
Regional
and
Skywarn. A
off
significant
I
weather
went.
advisory for northern Newton and Jasper
I got
counties
my dinner
has
for
been,
free.
issued until 10:30 p.m. At 9:33 p.m., Doppler radar was tracking strong thunderstorms along a line extending from near Shoal Creek Drive to near
Hey, Steve,
Saginaw
do you
to
want
near
me to
Neosho
feed
to near
some of the
Movement was north at
repeater
40 miles per hour.
through
Penny-sized
my
hail and
audio
wind gusts up
and
to
see if
50
it
miles
sounds
per
a
hour
little
will be
better
possible
instead
with
of
these
going
storms.
through
Locations
your
impacted
radio?
include Joplin, Carthage, Whip City, Carl Junction,
Yeah.
Orongano,
Of course,
Carterville,
we don't hear it on Skype, but it's going out on the live
Dunwig,
feed.
Jasper, Diamond, Airport
Are you
Drive,
listening on the
Leewood,
live feed?
Silver Creek, Alba,
No, but I
Purcell,
can.
Shoal Creek Drive, Saginaw, Carytown, and Fidelity. This includes Interstate 44 between mile markers 0 and 31, and Interstate 49 between mile markers 32 and 56. Torrential rainfall is occurring with these storms and may lead to flash flooding. This is KD0R Shea with Southwest Missouri Regional
It sounds
Skywarn.
good. See, the radio is coming through the mixer on easy capture, so it's technically in stereo.
I didn't know you were mixing things.
Yeah, I've got some. I mean, using the deal I use for the net live feeds, and I'm just feeding it in on a secondary into the OBS. But you don't hear it on Skype. That's the thing.
Oh, let's see. Tornado warning until 10 for Ottawa County and northeastern Oklahoma. Tornado and quarter-sized hail. Radar indicated rotation. I know you guys can't see that. Hold on.
I can see it. Ah, there it is. Wyandotte, Twin Bridges. I've been all them places. It's just across the border on 60.
Yeah, Yeah, Ottawa and Carden.
Uh-huh. Stay away from Miami, man. It's got that green chicken place. It's Route 66, a little dive of a restaurant. It's pretty good.
Hey, Miami has the loosest slots in all the Midwest.
Is that an advertising, or do you know?
I just said Miami, Oklahoma. I didn't say anywhere specific in Miami. And if they would like to send me $12,500 for advertising fee, I will gladly add a name to it.
We could always put an overlay up, right?
Yeah. Of course, that'll be more.
So, where that tornado's headed, Rodney?
N0NWS repeater.
Between Veneta and Coffeyville, and probably to the east a little bit, is very flat and very high altitude. And it would be a really awesome place for a radio station of the amateur variety.
Well, I'm sure I'll have a commercial variety as well.
There's a few of those out there, but not many. I mean, there's not much out there. It's just all pretty much farm fields and farmhouses, and which makes it great for amateur because it's not a lot of noise.
I have driven it a couple times between Missouri and Tulsa, and once between Missouri and almost Oklahoma City. It is flat. There are no trees. When the highlight is the McDonald's going across the highway that used to be a Howard Johnson's, looks like a little mini gateway arch with windows in the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, really.
The building actually is. It's the fact that there's absolutely nothing else around it that is kinda, yeah. Not that we're disparaging upon the state of Oklahoma. It's a wonderful, awesome state. Just next Earth Day, plant a tree or two, please.
Well, it's supposed to be a prairie. So, now, I'll be honest with you, I really enjoy Indian Territory. And, you know, guys, I know, Rodney, you've been to Claremore, what, twice?
No, just the one time.
Just once? Oh my, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in that place. Man, I like it. The gun museum's amazing. You could spend 2 days there, I think, looking at guns. But Will Rogers' home place was awesome. I never got time to go to the museum. Another road trip, another day. Here we are.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
We've got some people talking on chat.
Ooh, nice.
Is
On
this
the live stream chat?
confirmed? Do we have confirmation? We almost have to look in the Tulsa chat and see if they've got confirmation.
Oh,
Actually, it says radar indicated. They would.
Yeah, and radar indicated at this point.
Yeah.
well, okay, yeah, and they are saying hazard tornado and radar indicated rotation. So that could be a rotating funnel cloud. That could be a rotating wall cloud, or it could be a tornado.
Right. Yeah, it may not be on the ground.
Yeah.
Which I suppose it's somewhat good that it's sparsely populated because there's not a lot of stuff to hit.
True. Now, has anyone looked to the east there, just a little southeast of Neosho? I am showing a TVS.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of agree with you on that one.
Okay, so he's concerned because he is right there next where the tornado warning is.
Is
So,
he? Okay.
We appreciate you joining us tonight. We're gonna do our best to kind of let you know where things are at. Let me go back and turn on. Okay, so that is not necessarily tight enough to. I don't see a strong couplet there, and except right in there, and then it just kind of dissipated after the. I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys saw that.
It spun up and down real quickly.
Yeah, like right in here. So I'm gonna stop the. Let me turn
And
down here.
how? Do you have a time when that update was? 9:04.
Oh, hold on just a second. It's telling me that the radar is behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that happen sometimes.
Let me refresh it and see if there's anything coming in.
Get on the Tulsa radar and see if it's. Yeah, that's moved on.
Oh shoot, we totally missed it. I mean, look at the radar is moved big time. So we've been sitting on a bad deal. There we go. I think this is
But-
updated now.
But that's still a warning. But the problem is, now we've got. I'm looking at storm relative rotation, and there's something going on in Newton County, almost to Highway 60. Neosho, that's what.
Yeah, they just issued a new not tornado, thunderstorm warning for there, I think. Newton. Yeah, Newton County. I'll be right back.
And the one that was in Ottawa County, which has moved on a bit, I just my gut feeling that Cherokee County, Kansas is going to get the next
with
warning.
Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn. The National Weather Service in Springfield has issued a severe thunderstorm
Are
warning
you
for
following
Newton
the
County
chat, Steve?
until 10:15 p.m. At 9:43 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along the line extending from Saginaw to
I
near
haven't,
Granby
I kind of
to
got
10 miles
sidetracked since we
Neosho
hadn't
to
really.
near Fairview, moving north at 30 miles per hour. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail is the hazard. These are radar indicated. Expect damage to roof sidings and trees. This includes Interstate 49 between mile markers 15 and 31. Torrential rainfall is occurring with this storm and may lead to flash flooding. This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn.
It's definitely a lot of rain. Let me see here.
Yeah, the warning goes until 10, but by all appearances, it's moved on beyond 1 dot.
Go back and look at our velocities again. This is where I'm kind of looking at it right in here.
Yeah, it's about ready to cross the border into at Baxter
so this-
Springs.
I would not be surprised if they moved that up in near the Baxter Springs and Columbus area, because there is still storm level rotation in there.
Right.
Let's see what happens with this next.
Would you
Right,
agree
so-
that that's probably just south of Baxter Springs?
Just slightly south, yeah.
Yeah. Looks like.
I mean, at this point, if I go to what they call correlation coefficient, this would give a good indication of whether or not there's debris flying, and we're not seeing that based on the last view.
Which for the layman, that means that it's not picking up any debris off the surface and throwing it in the air. That the radar can indicate.
I'm going to move back to reflectivity here. There's a little bit of hail just to the north of Baxter Springs.
Yeah.
This hasn't really been pushing that much hail lately. I've noticed that. So there must be a lot of, that shear is keeping that hail down just a little bit.
Kind of earlier, whenever I first started watching it, right before that, in the previous frames of radar data, there were a couple pretty good hail cores, and I think there was one or two, maybe like about 15 minutes after I first started watching this, but I really haven't noticed a lot since then.
Okay, so our viewer has said that he's between Joplin and Carthage, so that line is moving into the Joplin area. However, that is not considered tornado warned at this time.
No.
In fact, they've dropped severe thunderstorm warning on that right now.
Yeah, but that one arm is kind of going to come up through that area, and right now, between Neosho and Newtonia, there's a bit of a hail core, and Newton County, that part of Newton County just got thunderstorm warned. So it's looking like it's going to move up maybe on the east side of Carthage, kind of between Carthage and Avelia. Now,
whenever our software says there's a tornadic vortex signature, that doesn't necessarily mean that's a tornado. That just means there are characteristics in the rotation. Now, if I were to switch back to velocity, this is what they would consider a TVS, because you've got your green going towards the radar and you've got your red going away from the radar. And essentially, since we can't see swirling wind, you're just seeing what's going towards and what's going the other way. And that is basically where the rotation would be, in a counterclockwise position. So this is where we would be looking closely.
Yeah, and sometimes those come and go. They may be seeing something on radar that looks like rotation, but they're not, quite 100% able to confirm that actually is a tornado or a funnel. That would sometimes be more where if there was a spotter on the ground in that area that, hey, I see a wall cloud, I see a funnel coming down, I now see it touching the ground and there's debris being kicked up, it is a tornado. So it's not that you shouldn't take it serious, because it could possibly still be a tornado. It's just they don't have enough information to confirm it. But what they're seeing on the radar, it's looking like it could be possible.
It's gonna be
tornado warned though, so that's the thing. I mean, you've got to look at your warnings, and you've got to look at, you've got to look under the circumstances. Okay, not to raise too much warning, you just need to be aware there's a possibility that they're going to if that shows any more stronger rotation, there's a good chance that they could put that tornado warned. But again, there's not a severe thunderstorm warning right at the moment, so that's what kind of makes me wonder if it's maybe weakening just a little bit.
Not for Jasper County, but there is one for Newton County.
So, just to interject a little spotter knowledge here, I'm looking at lightning maps, and generally speaking, when you have a tornado, a rotating storm, it generates a lot of lightning, and right now it's not doing that. But where they are right now, where Mid-National 4 Entertainment is at, if it hasn't already got to your place, it's gonna be heavy rain and a lot of wind. And it's probably not gonna be a dangerous situation, but just be aware that it can be pretty scary. You can see the difference between the green and the red there. what you got going. Because you got an inflow, and this is all coming from the south. This is what's weird about it. You got that big inflow coming in, and it goes up, and it circles around back in. So it's a big rotating tube of thunderstorms. So it's fixing to, if it hasn't already, it's fixing to get a little bit noisy and rainy, and probably some wind blowing. But at the moment, they have not issued any kind of serious tornado warnings. Hey, you're skirting right at that point where the wind shifts directions.
Yeah, it's right in here.
Right.
You know, so you could be seeing anywhere from gusts between 15 to 20 miles an hour. And keep in mind too that, you know, this is on the low side of the ground. I'm sure if we raised the tilt slightly, there'd be a lot higher winds, which there are, and there's a lot of still rotation in the upper levels of that storm. However, the lower parts of it are a little bit tamer as far as that's concerned.
So this is the words from the National Weather Service. They've issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Newton County and southwest Missouri until 10:15. At 9:43, severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from Saginaw to near Granby to 10 miles east of Neosho to near Fairfield, moving north at 30 miles per hour. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. So, you know, even though it isn't, they're not saying there's a tornado, and I don't, you know, we may have belief in that there might be some rotation down towards Neosho, where you are located in between Joplin and Carthage. It's not, and you can see the between Carl Junction and Avila, I think. Avila, yeah. That's always a joke when Patty and I go out there. Avila. Yeah, well, that's what they.
Yeah, I mean,
in certain parts of Carthage, that's how they say it. But anyway, yeah, right now Joplin's getting the big wind and blow, so it's just getting.
I have a feeling that they'll let that tornado warning
expire
because I'm not seeing anything that's really indicating.
I'm kind of curious because
there's still rotation. Don't get that wrong. There is still rotation, but it's nothing really tight that I can see.
It technically expires at 10, so
yeah,
we got 4
5
minutes.
All right, so he's wanting to know if Miller is going to be affected by the severe storms.
At some point, you know, potentially later in the evening.
But
Yeah, it could be.
the likelihood as it gets closer to the Springfield area, it could kind of calm down a little bit. I don't know. We have a way of doing that. Thank you for joining us, by the way. Hopefully we're giving you good information. If not, hopefully you're here for the entertainment, and I don't know if it's that for purpose.
Hey, we're better than the Tonight Show. We may not be perfect weather meteorologists, but we are Skywarn people, so we have spotted.
Hey, if you can find me a turbine, I can do a great Karnak.
The Great Karnak.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
May your windmills be full of wind, your sails full of rain, and may a cargo van fall on your donkey 2 weeks from yesterday. And the question is, What happens when tornadoes go through Kansas?
Right now, they're water spouts.
Oh, goodness.
And they just expired the thunderstorm for McDonald County, which is good. I shall be back in a moment.
N0NWS repeater.
This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn. The severe thunderstorm warning for McDonald County will expire at 10 p.m. The thunderstorm which prompted the warning has weakened to below severe limits and no longer poses a threat to life or property. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, heavy rains are still possible with these storms. This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn.
Okay. So there's one thunderstorm warning down.
Are you doing okay posting, or do you need help
Oh,
with that?
yeah, I'm fine. They're not coming quickly enough that I'm having an issue with it.
Let's make sure that our radar is staying up to date here. Waiting next.
Yeah, you, I think you're behind.
No, don't tell me that.
They don't want to hear it behind. That is not very German of you. being
43.
behind.
Huh. Are they having problems with radar in Springfield?
I don't know. I'm showing my last frame from 9:58, and it just now updated. Before that was 9:56.
Well, we're making
Good
the same
evening.
impression.
The time is 10 o'clock
So
p.m.
that makes me feel better.
Weather conditions clear. Temperature 68 degrees.
Thank you for that. Thank you. But we didn't go to school for it. We would hope that they have a little bit more knowledge about that than we would.
I would hope if even one of us had went 1 year to meteorology school, we would have a bit more polish on this than we do.
All right,
Refresh.
guys, I got to tell you something.
Yes.
This is literally a blast from my past.
Ah.
On May 18th of 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted.
Oh, yes.
What just happened to be the same thing? I graduated high school on that day.
Ooh. You caused the mountain to blow.
I did.
Oh my God. Talk about.
See, okay, I always have confusion. I can never remember. Did you say that occurred in 80 or 81?
80.
Okay, 80. So I was December, January, February, March, April. I was just a few days over 6 months old.
In August, I made a trip out there. Not myself, my parents. It was a family vacation because my dad said we're going to go see a volcano, and while we were there, it erupted for the 5th time.
I bet you didn't get very close to the mountain, though.
We were within 40 miles of it.
Well, yeah, but I meant you weren't right up close to it or anything, because all that destruction and everything. I think it took them
yeah. The Columbia
months, if
River
not
was
close
just
to a year or more to clean it all up.
the Columbia River was completely full of trees and mud. It was just like they're never going to clean that. There's no way. And apparently they did.
Yeah, they finally did. The closest I have heard anyone compare it to is almost like a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, did you ever see the time lapse of the top of the mountain coming out?
I'm not for sure. Are you talking about photos or videos?
It's photos.
Okay, I've seen like a series of photos, but not like, these are like every 5 seconds or every 10 seconds, and this is from, like 5 minutes before to, like a minute after or anything like that. I've just seen a series, so I don't know where they all fit in the timeline. But yeah, kind of a little bit before, kind of as it's first starting, kind of in the middle of it, and then afterwards where it's got the huge hole in the side of the mountain. Every tree is flattened. It's gray all over from all the ash and everything that fell all around it, and it looks like complete total disaster. And then you see it like about 5-10 years later, so late 80s, early 90s, it's still got the huge massive hole in it, and you've got the famous caldera that's built up since then, but trees are coming back. It's green around it. There's snow up on the top parts of the mountain. And it's just amazing to think that it went from complete total devastation to almost, if you didn't have that big chunk out of the side of the mountain where the caldera built up, that you really couldn't have told that much had happened. It's interesting.
What is amazing was the amount that removed from the mountain was a cubic mile.
Yeah.
1 cubic mile of rock. I can't even fathom something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, Mount Rainier is real close to it, and the first time we saw it, it looked so big it didn't look real. It looked like a painting.
I'm sure. I've never in person seen mountains that big. Yeah, I mean, I probably really have never seen in person in my life anything that you would really honestly, truthfully call a mountain, not the Ozark Mountains. I just can't imagine it. It has to look kind of like what you said. It looks like it's not real. It's got to look like a mountain or something. And I know this is probably nowhere near even as impressive, but just the one and only time that I've seen an actual ocean when we were at, I think it was Biscayne Bay in Miami. The people who organized the Orange Bowl parade threw a beach party for all the bands and everything that was in the Orange Bowl parade. And only time that I've seen the ocean, and I mean, just looking out as far as it goes, it's like I've never seen anything that far flat and quite that far, and seeing the ships come in and everything was amazing. But I can't imagine seeing the Cascade Mountains or the Appalachians or the Rockies, particularly the Rockies. It's just got to look like they go on forever.
Well, I don't know if I could show you that kind of stuff, but I can show you big windmills sometime. We'll drive out west.
That's what I hear. I hear they're putting a farm out there.
We're not seeing any kind of TVS or anything on that. Let me have a look.
None anymore. And it looks like that. I think there was 2 thunderstorm warnings for Newton at one time. It looks like one of them they've just expired.
Right.
Yeah.
They kind of.
Well, no, I guess this was the one that I was thinking about. Maybe there was just one because it's expiring at 10:15, which was what the other one was. So I'll be back in a moment.
We'll be right back after these.
He's gonna read a
This
warning.
is KD0RSJ with Southwest
from a
Missouri
message
Regional
from our
Skywarn.
sponsor, the
The
National
severe
Weather
thunderstorm
Service.
warning
Yeah.
for Newton County will be allowed to expire at 10:15
I might have
p.m.
to add, we do
The
not
storms
get
which prompted the
compensated
warning
from the
have
National
weakened below severe
We do.
limits and no longer pose an immediate
No
threat
one
to life or property.
compensates.
Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, heavy rain is still possible with these thunderstorms.
So if you see us
Katie,
out,
there
buy
are
us a
today more to
candy
follow.
bar or something, because we're not being compensated.
We need as many endorsements as we
KD0
can.
RSJ continuing. The severe thunderstorm warning
But
for
some
Cherokee County will
endorsements
be
are
allowed
better
to
than
expire
others,
at
you know.
10:15 p.m. The storms which prompted the warning have also weakened.
It's
Therefore,
because the members of the
warning
Ham
will be
Radio
allowed to
Club
expire.
endorse us. That doesn't mean
However,
that we get any
heavy rain
money
is
from it.
also still occurring with these storms. This is KD0 RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn.
Okay, I'm gonna refresh this.
N0NWS repeater.
I will take as compensation massive amounts of Twinings Earl Grey tea, either in pre-made tea bags or loose leaf in the can.
10:05 is the most recent update. 10:04.
Yeah, that's why I've got is 10:05.
Oh.
Alright, let's push an update now. See what it looks like. Oh, see, okay, it didn't update. Now we've got 2 warnings.
In Cherokee? Burr?
The Cherokee one just expired.
Alright, let me wait for this to refresh. If this keeps up, I may have to push up to Kansas City.
They're probably doing a sweep to the west, which takes away from time that you get a complete sweep.
Yeah, I'm getting nothing though. That's the problem.
Oh, there was a new update just now. 07. Now I'm probably later than you. I'm looking at College of DuPage.
07 is what I've got. It just now updated a minute ago.
That storm has
There we go.
not
Alright.
yet reached Carthage. What do you see in there? What is the little one triangle 1 green?
That's hail.
Hail, okay. 1-inch hail, maybe.
We don't currently see anything as tornado
Right.
warned. Now there's a tag tornado possible on this one, but this one just had a tornado warning at one point, so they're just keeping that tag there in case it were to strengthen. For the most part, there's still a lot of energy in this area that's moving into the.
They never carried the tornado warning across the border.
No,
I don't think so, no.
When it hit the border, it was done. So, and you know, for the viewers watching, we have a difference in weather service. Seneca splits between Tulsa and Springfield. Treese splits. Springfield has the 3 counties to the southeast of Kansas. But Ottawa, where the city of Miami is, that's Tulsa's. And I don't remember any of the other county names. I'm just now figuring out the Kansas counties.
So I think Franklin read this warning, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which one was that?
Yeah, he did. Most recent warning out of Springfield is severe thunderstorm warning for Newton County until 10:15. That was the most recent.
Yeah. Yeah, but that one, they issued an expiration on it. They're going to allow it to expire at 10:15, so here in a couple minutes it'll be done.
So we're kind of losing the energy on these storms where they're not going to be considered severe.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they aren't exciting.
Oh, no. And it does not mean that they can't still maybe possibly have some large hail, maybe not quite as large as they might have earlier. They could still have heavy rain. That's just kind of has been the thing the last few days, kind of moderate to heavy rain, kind of over similar or the exact same areas. So there's always, anytime you have that, there's the potential of flooding or flash flooding that you need to be careful of. They could still produce some lightning. In fact, I'm seeing not a great ton, but kind of around the Fidelity, Diamond, Wentworth to Circoxie area, kind of that cell that's heading up towards Carthage. A little bit of lightning here and there. So, just always keep in mind, anytime 10 miles out from a strike, you could potentially have, another lightning strike. If you can hear it, you can definitely be struck by it. So definitely, it's almost a quarter after 10. Probably most people on a holiday, particularly if they've been having fun and festivities all day, it's probably winding down. But, if you are outside, get inside.
Guys, we had a pretty good event come through town today, and looked a lot like this on the radar. And I mean, it was coming down like I'm thinking I probably ought to get my canoe out. I'm serious. It poured, and it just for about a half an hour. That was it.
Yeah, I was kind of resting for a little bit, anticipating that we were going to have a big event tonight, and I heard it pouring, and I was like, gee, about 20-30 minutes ago, whenever I went and laid down, it didn't even look like out the window it was even dark, although I saw it coming up from the south on the radar. It was kind of interesting.
I'm not.
The radar woke up.
Yeah, I think they were doing a heavy-duty scanning of that area there between, southwest.
Yeah, I think you're right, because if you look now, there's actually, so in Monette, there's a cell that's just kind of spawned from this area, so things are starting to kind of develop in this area. Looking at the, I'll see now, I don't have any radar information for it to really give me a good movement, so.
Yeah, see, that stuff around Monette, there's a little small cell northeast of Cassville. There's some stuff around Shell Knob and Viola, west of Kimberly City. I think a large part of that is coming from this kind of massive stuff, whenever I go to talking, for some reason I have hiccups. That's coming from kind of extreme northwest into north central Arkansas, kind of a little bit further east from this stuff that's kind of went along into Kansas and Oklahoma and kind of along the western border. So we may get some more stuff kind of pop up. You never know.
Yeah, the thing is, this whole system is moving to the north, but which means that eventually it will envelop all of what you see on the screen. Mm-hmm. And it's beginning to, like that little cell there by Monette, those are fill-ins that are starting to fill in on this line. Well, one thing for sure is we're sitting on a real high dew points, like in the 70s. So that's just expected. It's nighttime, and we've lost the ground heating, and water is going to just start condensing. That's just the way it is. And so part of that is what's going on. But, I'm looking at, the whole of the Springfield radar, and the bigger part of this storm is in Arkansas.
Yeah.
So, it's, see there. There's a lot going on down there, and, I'm going to quote Ron Hurst here. we've got mountains in the way, and I can verify I've been on the mountain by Harrison, and I haven't really been further west than maybe Green Forest. But there's a lot of mountains, and that will impede the development of storms to an extent.
I'm sure.
It's rare,
I'm sure.
though, that we see a storm that comes from the south going north. It's usually the other way around. It's coming from the west, moving towards, or the
kinda
north coming
from,
southeast.
Yeah, or sometimes we get a lot of stuff that kind of comes out of Oklahoma and that kind of that extreme northwest corner of northwest Arkansas, where it's kind of going from
repeater.
southwest to northeast. But to definitely have something come almost straight out of the south like this is unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will bring attention to that cell here in Monette.
Yeah.
It has definitely increased in strength, and
Yeah,
so
it's getting bigger.
I
It's got kind of that little bit of
there's some little bit of hail in that right now.
yeah, and in that kind of that appendage down there from
This-
Monette to Purdy.
Is also developing some hail, so that means there is some slight strengthening. That does not necessarily mean a tornado. That just means that it, with the strength of it, it could become severe. But and it could even just be what would they would consider an advisory, because
Right.
now they actually do. What is the classification for that? It's significant.
Yeah,
weather
a
advisory.
significant weather advisory. That's usually whenever it's not quite enough to put out a watch or a warning, but it's still an area of concern that they're watching for the potential of issuing a possible warning soon.
Wait
So,
a minute.
which is a segue to what we may be talking about on Thursday. So if
Yeah.
you are watching now and you would like to know more about how that is classified, join us Thursday for our live show. So
Yeah, we're going to
Shame-
try to
shameless-
explain ourselves.
A little bit.
And talk about ham radio, too.
Yeah.
Because you can't have Skywarn without ham radio. Or radio.
Well, you can, but it's not as fun.
Speaking of which, I don't know what it was about storms today, but it adversely affected the net control's ability to talk.
Well,
I think it was yesterday it was worse.
if it's really, really humid, there's one of us that has issues that, I mean, just gets congestion and throat clogged up and stuff, and I can't imagine that that's any fun.
No, I know it's not any fun, but
Yeah.
he was tripping over it pretty bad. And
Oh,
then
and hey, sometimes I do myself. I'm just like, I've said these words millions of times, and they just will not come out right.
then we have some helpers
Mm-hmm.
who I think are medicated.
Could be.
Probably not near as much as they were on Channel 3 on CB today. Oh my God.
You're not bringing up that two-letter,
The dark
four-letter
side.
word, are you?
The dark side.
I don't even think that's the dark side. I think that's pretty much you've signed and delivered your soul to Satan, isn't it?
Oh, no. But it was entertaining. They was definitely medicating over there today.
oh boy.
Oh boy, yeah, that's right. Dang. I think it was JD medication. Old number 7.
Oh no.
Oh, and 10 meters was open nearly all day.
Oh yeah, probably the temperature inversion caused that.
Yeah, and it was open like everywhere. I mean, I was here in all directions at one point in time or another.
Did lose Franklin for like a few seconds?
No, I was just discussing something with Mom.
Ooh.
I didn't figure you guys wanted to see the back of my head.
Okay, I'm gonna be nice. I'm not gonna say anything because it could easily come back. But I had. Yeah. Let me marinate on it for a minute.
Marinate.
Or
Just
or
go
if you
for
wanna
it, man.
Or if you want to sound very French, you say marinade on it.
Just go for it, Rodney.
Huh?
Just go for it.
Well, you said you probably didn't want to see the back of my head, and I said, well, we don't want to see the front of your head either. I'm sorry, Franklin. I'm fine. I couldn't help it.
It's what we do, man. It's bad.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Or hold on. Or if you really want to be bad.
Oh my.
Oh. Oh my.
Breaker 49670, do you got a copy there, good buddy? I'm going down the big concrete road here, just looking for some chit-chat while I make it down the big road on my 18-wheeler. Do you copy? Over?
It's getting deep, and I'm not talking about the rain.
Did that by any chance come through echoey?
Not even, no.
Oh no!
Oh, he wanted to have echo mic, didn't he? That's what he.
I forgot to use that.
Okay, hold on. He's getting the echo mic. That's gonna bring a lot more.
I've
There you
got
go.
a
Go
microphone that has echo in it, and I'm not using it on purpose.
Breaker, this is the weather chaser coming down the big 8-lane highway looking for some storms, tornadoes, and hail. Anyone out there got a copy? Over?
Oh my gosh. Put it away, Franklin. Put it away.
You want some real good entertainment, Rodney? Tune in to
What's that?
27025 and listen to it. It's called the Super Bowl channel. And it ain't got nothing to do with football.
That's not Channel 21, is it?
No, it's channel 6.
Oh, channel. Well, I knew used to around here the popular crazy channels were either 21, which is the trucker channel, or 23. But now they've moved to 6 now, have they?
Well, no, that's nationally. And
Oh, okay.
I'd hate to even say that you could use it as an indicator that the band's open, because these guys got enough power to be their own, like, commercial radio stations, you know.
Oh.
It's highly illegal. And you might just say they don't even bother with a receiver. I don't even know why. They just blabber. It's just like, oh my God. Wait a minute, we got a post. What was it?
Oh, it was a mesoscale discussion.
That should be red.
Copy link location.
So, Steve, I will take my screen off and let you do yours.
Oh. No, it's not available yet.
Oh, it popped up for me.
Did it?
Yeah. Want me to read it?
Yeah, if it's pertinent.
I'm not for sure whether it's pertinent or not, but it does talk about Southwest Missouri. Mesoscale precipitation discussion 0257. Areas affected: northwest Arkansas, far northeast Oklahoma, southwest to west central Missouri, and eastern Kansas. And concerning heavy rainfall and flash flooding possible. Summary: heavy showers and thunderstorms will pose a threat for some flash flooding going through the overnight hours. Discussion. The latest radar imagery shows bands of heavy showers and thunderstorms lifting northwest across northwestern Arkansas, far northeastern Oklahoma, and into far southeast Kansas, and southwest Missouri. The activity is associated with the northward advance of a mid-level shortwave trough and associated Vort center. The energy is interacting with at least a modestly unstable air mass with locally 500 to 750 joules per kilogram of MU Cape and a southeasterly low-level jet of about 20 to 30 knots. Okay. Over the next few hours, the upper-level energy should become more focused up over especially areas of northwest Arkansas, southeast Kansas, and southwest Missouri, which will allow showers and thunderstorms there to become a little more concentrated and capable of producing some heavy rainfall totals. The latest PWS are on the order of about 1.5 inches across these areas, but there is greater moisture pooling to the south over northwest Arkansas, where PWS are closer to about 1.75 inches. Some of this deeper moisture will be advocating further north overnight and will be fostering heavy rainfall, rates which may be as high as 1.5 inches or higher after 0600 Zulu. That would be midnight, would it not?
Yeah, or 1. I think
okay,
1.
Midnight 1. Yeah, because of daylight savings times, instead of 6 hours ahead, they're 5 hours ahead then.
It's 3:28 right now.
Okay. So the convection will likely be spreading up across areas of east central Kansas and west central Missouri. And while the heavier rainfall totals may tend to be more over southeast Kansas, northwest Arkansas, and southwest Missouri, even areas closer into the Kansas City metroplex or metropolitan area may see some heavy rain later on in the night. Expect rainfall totals going through 09 Zulu to be as much as 2 to 4 inches, so that would probably be about 6 in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning. And given that locally wet antecedent conditions, some flash flooding will be possible going through the overnight hours. And pretty much the rest of that is for in-office use only.
So translated, it's gonna rain.
Yeah.
It's gonna rain hard and heavy. You may wake up and see an ark with 2x2 floating in your front yard. Just get your canoe out and start paddling. No, wait, not this one.
All right, Rodney, put your radar back up.
All right.
And I'm going to be off for a moment.
Okay.
Patty has gotten home. Got to check in and be back.
He will be right back after these messages.
Haha.
Okay, so I guess radar summary. As of right now, there are no warnings to speak of, at least in the southwest Missouri area. We're looking at a line of storms ranging anywhere from Arma down through Jasper. And there are also some storms that are starting to develop just to the west of Mount Vernon. We will bring this out just a little bit, kind of get a better idea. And these storms are going to continue to build up and grow. And again, we don't know about the severity of it, but this is what Franklin was talking about in the mesoscale discussion, and this is basically how the National Weather Service gives information to us to kind of help us to be able to forecast as well. And this is just kind of like a forecast that helps us to be weather aware. I guess that's the best way to say it, isn't it, Franklin? I mean, that's basically what they do.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we're goal is to kind of be aware of what the weather conditions are, what they could develop to, whether or not we think that we need to have spotters out and have a net activation. It's kind of a continuous process. It's not just a one day and we're done. It's kind of a day-to-day thing.
Yeah. So again, there are some little storms that are starting to develop into the Greene County area. Again, nothing severe. But if there's enough instability, that those little storms can grow pretty quick.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Are you seeing any lightning in those storms starting to develop?
I am not seeing any on my radar scope. I'm looking at that kind of couple, 2 or 3 little small cells kind of lined up just east of Halltown, and then if you go down just a little bit south of that, kind of between just east of Chesapeake down to Marionville, there's kind of a big blob. Not huge, but I mean it's not. It's either one kind of larger cell that's kind of breaking into 2, or maybe 2 that are going together. I'm not seeing any lightning strikes as of right now in either one of those. There is some heavy rain though inside those, particularly with one down more closer to Marionville.
Yeah, and I mean, we have one of our partners is down in the Anderson in the was it Rocky Comfort, I believe is the name.
Yeah, Rocky Comfort, Wheaton, kind of down over there around Stella, Fairview. Not too awfully far from Pineville, and then just west of Pineville is Goodman and Anderson. I've went through there a few times. That's, I guess, what they are calling Interstate 49 now. Used to be Alternate 71. And actually, oddly enough, weirdly, first time that I went down to Rogers and went down through that way, I found out that that's actually not too awfully far from Knoll, Missouri, which I don't know. Rodney would probably be old enough to remember. You remember the TV show Unsolved Mysteries?
Yeah, with was it Michael Stack or something like that?
Robert Stack.
Robert Stack.
Yeah.
Something Stack.
They highlighted it pretty early on in the show. It was like their 2nd or 3rd year, I think. They highlighted the case of, I believe his name was Dan Short. He was a bank president at the bank in Knoll, Missouri. And it's commonly believed that, and I can't remember if they ever solved the case or not, that he was somehow either coerced or someone jumped upon him, convinced him to open up the bank, take money out of the bank, and then they later tied and taped him to a wooden chair that was weighted down with a cement block and dumped him in a lake nearby. I have always, for some weird reason, I guess it's this sense of true crime, law enforcement interest that I think I got from my dad. Because he was always interested in stuff like that, and he read a ton of true crime books. I've always wanted to go down to Knoll just to look at the city, see what it's like, find that bank, if it's even remotely like what it used to be, find the lake, and just see what the area is, because that story has just stuck with me all these years. And it's tragic and sad that he had to perish for those reasons, and his family, I'm sure, are probably still in agony to today. But I mean, it's just one of those things that you hear about, and it resonates with you, and every once in a while through my life, I just kind of wonder, did they ever find out who did that? I know, one of my weird tangents.
N0NWS
if you're talking about Noel, it's not that exciting, really.
Well, I'm sure probably not, but just because of that case, I just have always wanted to go down there. And you see, that was kind of, I think, what made it even more unexpected and just caught people's interest at the time, because it's like almost literally the middle of nowhere. It's like, why would anyone ever consider this little bank in this little town to be a place to try to rob?
One of the guys charged died in prison in 2013, and that's according to the Joplin Globe.
See, I could never remember if they ever did solve the case, if they brought any charges or anything. So they did actually bring charges against someone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It was a guy and his younger brother.
Gotcha. Yeah, see, just, it brought it back up because just shortly before we moved, like a couple months before we moved, I noticed on the Roku channel on the Roku box, they actually have Unsolved Mysteries, and I think they've got every episode of every season. And I started going through them, and then I've kind of watched it off and on a couple different times after we've moved up here to the apartment. And it's just I find it fascinating and interesting, all these different stories, and some of them that even still to today have not been solved. And I guess you could say it's my bleeding liberal heart showing. But I feel sorry for these people, and I just kind of wonder, did they ever find out what happened to their loved ones? Did people pass away not knowing? And it seems like as I get older, that gets worse. I feel sorry for little cats or dogs that I see wandering around on the street, and I guess as some people would say, it probably just means that I care and I have a heart, but...
Yeah, it ain't your liberal or bleeding heart. It's just being human.
Well, human, yeah. And yeah, at times it kind of seems like, why would I let something that small bother me? But I guess it's just because I care.
Yeah. Just being human.
Yes. This memory lane moment was brought to you by...
Facebook?
Oh, no, not Facebook.
ThisDayInHistory.com.
Facebook, they want you to see someone else's memory, not your own.
Boy. Well, she's not home yet.
No, she wasn't.
I probably better check in, find out if she's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, do you guys see kind of a pattern here? There seems to be a linear line starting to develop in this area, just to the, let's say, the west side of Crane, and then you've got Mount Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been gradually kind of filling in.
Yeah, I think so, because that's kind of that stuff that was around Halltown, I think actually now maybe more up to west of Walnut Grove, and what used to be kind of near Marionville's moved up just north of Halltown, and then there's another bunch that's kind of taken its place between Chesapeake and Marionville, and then kind of from Marionville to Aurora, and then further south. So, I mean, it could be kind of stuff building up kind of generally along a north to south line, or a south to north line there, that may be kind of filling in.
Did we say it was moving to the northwest?
Well, some of this stuff is moving a little bit more almost straight north, and some of it is moving a little bit more northwest.
It's sending out runners. If you look at that, what was a single cell near Monette has become multiples in a line.
Yeah.
And it did that within like 2 or 3 radar passes. You see how that makes a line that goes north and south up to just west of Springfield. Now there's nothing real exciting about this. None of it's got any real lightning in it.
A little bit here and there.
Down around Batesville, it's getting a little more exciting.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about this is if this storm continues, I know it's down in Arkansas, but if you notice the track is moving in, it will be in, let's see, is this Ozark County?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep.
That's going to hit the area. And if it continues in the direction, it could get us like Rogersville, maybe into Bolivar. I mean, it could even take another more western approach, and it could hit Springfield on if it strengthens or stays strong.
Well, if these
They
tracks,
just now added another thunderstorm right there. So they're already anticipating that to continue.
if these tracks hold with what they're doing, I'd say some part of this is going to eventually hit Greene County and Springfield. If it goes more north, it could potentially hit into Webster and Wright County, possibly.
Oh, guys,
hold on just a second.
Let me read this warning, just so you get a feel. The National Weather Service in Little Rock has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for western Izard County, north central Searcy County, Marion County, northeastern Boone County, and Baxter County in north central Arkansas. There you go. Yeah. Until 11:30. At 10:24 p.m. Central Daylight Time, severe thunderstorms were located along the line extending from near Culp to advance to 7 miles northwest of Maumee, moving northwest at 55 miles per hour. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, which radar indicated expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees.
At 10:43 p.m., Doppler radar indicated heavy rain due to thunderstorms. This will cause minor flooding in the advisory area.
In the
Up to
past,
1 inch of
as
rain
they
has
say.
already fallen. Creek streams and low water crossings will be especially.
You ever been to Yellville or Flippin', Rodney?
Locations impacted in the advisory include Neosho,
I've heard
Roaring River State Park, Big Sugar Creek State Park, Cassville, Granby, Diamond, Seligman, Washburn, Fairview, Newtonia,
I tell you,
Pioneer, Stella.
one of the times I went to Yellville, we rode a motorcycle down 125 and crossed the ferry at Bull Shoals Lake,
This,
and rode into a really amazing restaurant down in Yellville.
Following
and then
Lower Crossing,
rode back
this Highway 60
through
north of
up
Neosho,
through on
Route
65.
W at Shoal Creek near Ritchie, and
Took a
Highway
whole day.
76,
It was
1
fun.
mile southeast of
I'm
Cassville.
going to focus on this a little bit, because if you notice there's some
Be cautious at
really
night when it
heavy
is harder
blowing
to
right
recognize the
There
dangers
is.
of flooding. This is KD0R Shea with Southwest.
You're kind of almost out of the radar.
Yeah, I am. I mean, that's one reason why we're seeing a lot of, artifacts that's probably not even what it is.
But it's not.
K0 DCR monitoring.
It's not any better when you go to Little Rock radar.
Hello, Gene. How are you doing?
Fine, Franklin. How about yourself?
Doing all right. Just watching the stuff come out of Arkansas and see if it's going to turn into anything for Greene County, and reading stuff for the regional.
It is going to.
I was looking at that myself. Looks like we might have some stuff down there to south of Harrison that might move up through here, but it don't look like it's going to be very serious.
Park, maybe Nixa.
Look at
Yeah,
by
just kind of
Bolivar
depends on what the instability
and
would be
Mountain
once
Grove.
it's up here.
Those have just
kind
appeared.
of been I think
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
here
there's
and
just
there,
no
all
coming
over the
through.
place, really.
It's
Some low
definitely becoming
instability with
unstable.
some
And
high
like you were saying about that
instability
line,
pockets,
now it's
but
even moved even
if it
just
hasn't gotten up
to the
real
east of
super
Miller,
high,
and
it
then yet
probably
there's
likely
another
will
one.
not. But
Yeah, so it
we
makes you
can
kind of
still have
wonder
some
if
heavy
there's a
rain
little
and blending out of
stationary
it. So
or an
we're going to give it a
outbound
watch for a while.
guest runner,
N0NW,
whatnot,
and
maybe actually
receiver.
building from those.
Yeah, I think it's all going to fall apart before we get up here. I think we're going to get a bunch of rain out of it, but probably going to be about it. Got my antennas fixed Saturday, so I'm back on HF again, making contacts in Puerto Rico and Mississippi today.
That's pretty good for Gene.
Well, that sounds awesome. Glad to hear that you got those put back up and got them working again. And yeah, Puerto Rico
I was
from here, that
getting
should
ready
be
to
pretty darn
rally
good
the troops and
contact.
go out
So,
there. What,
congratulations
yesterday
on
or
that.
the day before?
I think probably
And
what
then
I'll
he
go ahead and
checked
do
in
is
and
I'll
said,
go
"No, I
ahead
got it."
and say 73s, and we'll see what goes
There's
on here
nothing
with
like
the
a
weather.
determined ham radio
And if you
operator.
happen to hear
Yeah,
or
he
see
said he
anything,
elicited
definitely
the
give me a
wife
holler,
and two
we will
neighbors.
get that turned in and to the weather service.
Hey. All right, I was getting ready to call
All right,
Franklin.
will
so
do.
let's go to
73
Stratford
Franklin.
and
Catch you later. K0DGR
Well,
clear.
actually, I've got a situation I need to talk to you off air. We got a phone call, so I wanted to talk to you about it. But yeah, we'll do it later.
Okay.
I am glad to hear that Gene got that situated out because I was kind of concerned how he was going to get that done.
Well, what he told me was it was the wife and two neighbors.
Ah,
But it was going to be us because you and I were going to go up there if you were available to go.
as long as I didn't have anything going on, I would have definitely gone. I don't know how much help I would have been to correct something other than just being muscle, but I definitely would have gone and
That's really
I
what
could
he
have done
needed.
whatever I could have.
That's really what he needed was just muscle power.
Gotcha.
I don't even know what's the weather service doing right now. Is there anything?
Well, someone had responded.
They just
talking
issued
maybe
a
the
flood
chat was out.
advisory. I didn't see that. Because I got disconnected at 10:32 and then reconnected at 10:36. And the last thing that I got from them was 10:43 was that flood advisory I just posted. And I'm getting notices of people hopping in and hopping out.
Yeah.
Now, that was the second time I think I've been kicked and then, but within just a couple minutes, it auto-logged me back in. Earlier this morning, whenever I was watching, there was one point I got kicked out and then got brought right back in, but I think that was only like a minute or two. I mean, it happens so quickly usually that when I notice it is because I've got another little tab up at the top where I've come back in and it's giving me the warning that, you know, this is a super top secret server and
Right.
any
Yeah,
information
I had
that you
one
may,
of those too, but
may reveal.
yesterday, day before yesterday,
I see that.
it actually just
Uh,
gave me that it's not there. It's not responding, and I closed out
Yeah.
Pigeon, and apparently I didn't close Pigeon because it opened it up again. It's like,
yeah.
okay.
Now, see, I don't know if this is common with Pigeon or if this is just Pigeon with Linux or if this is just Pigeon with my specific setup. When I go and quit Pigeon, it's still running in the background. I have to go into one of the things in the settings and actually kill it. Otherwise, whenever I close out and I log back in next time, it will automatically pull Pigeon up. Which I guess maybe is a good thing, that I don't want to be in there unless I need to be in there. So I just have to remember to go in and kill it each time. Just apparently quitting it does not completely close it. Like I said, it still apparently runs in the background.
Wow, man, they're filling it up. They're going to boot us is what's going to happen.
When was that I said?
Southeast Kansas Regional Coordinator Media.
Well, I don't think they actually kick anyone out, but what they will do is they will put up a post in the chat that, you know, they're getting a ton of people in here. If you do not have a legitimate reason for being here, please exit the room so that people who need to be in here can have as much bandwidth as possible.
Well, if you've got the chat and there's no need for me to be on, then
yeah, if you want to, because I'm doing posting, so that's why I've got chat open. If you want to close chat, that'll be fine. I'll just, if anything comes up, I'll mention it.
Okay. Because IRC is such a taxing system. Oh my God.
Well, it is, but and I can kind of understand it because it's running off of the server. Plus, if you do it this way, you have radar data included. But if you use the NWS Chat Live through a browser, that's what they say really kills the server. At multiple IWT meetings, they have asked everyone, if you're using chat on a regular basis, please do not use NWS Chat Live unless you have no other option. Use some form of a chat client like Pigeon or Talkonaut, or there's several others. But that's what they say, is using that NWS Chat Live through the browser. That's what really taxes the server.
I don't have anything on my phone at all right now.
Yeah. Talkonaut is what has become the popular mobile one. It does a pretty darn good job. And I am going to sneaky off for a moment to get me a bowl of macaroni and cheese.
Huh.
Late night Mac.
Oh, the good stuff.
I'm not even hungry, but I'm going to feel left out. I better find something. I'll be right back.
Okay.
And I went ahead and switched over to the headset so that I can still talk. I need to check. I got a notification the other day. I think it was through the Apple News app. It's like 3 or 4 ingredients to supercharge boxed macaroni and cheese. I have not read it.
Yeah. You can you can choose sour cream or cream cheese. Either one of those two are a good one.
Oh, I bet.
Patty must have had a heck of a day.
Just now put in chat.
She's not responding to my what's going on.
Hopefully that's not a bad indication. Oh no, that wasn't chat. That was Facebook chat.
All of this whole entire storm system has settled down.
N0,
'Cause our gut
W.
knows
Yeah,
one.
it seems
Repeater.
like it's kind of getting into a rain event type situation.
Yep, I agree.
I need ice and tea. Maybe it's just because I've had the headset on, but it sounds like possibly maybe whoever in the neighborhood between you and me has finally caught their white whale or the prized 28-point buck or something, because I have not heard anything that sounded like a gunshot for a while. Although sometimes, there are kind of to the east of us, kind of some industrial factory type places. So, a lot of times whenever it's real quiet at night, late at night, sound carries quite a little bit, and I'm sure a lot of them sometimes has been it. There's still some activity and stuff going on around the old cup factory and everything, but just everyone will have something kind of like what's been going on tonight, and it kind of makes you wonder, gee, Get and Go was not that far away.
Yeah, that's true.
Something else like that. Oh yeah, I don't know if I've gotten to tell you or not. I was coming home from playing D&D that night. So one of my friends from Bass Pro, the one that was the school teacher, and his wife is the person who cuts my hair. She has a salon off of Republic Road, so I just took James River to 65. Then I get off on the bridge, and I'm coming down over the bridge, and it's like a sea of blue, white, and red lights all across Chestnut Expressway, and I'm like, oh my god, what in the world happened? I was expecting someone had a bad accident. And then I get up and I pull off in a parking lot, and of course I'd taken my camera to D&D, so you know what the first thing was that happened when I got out the door. So I started taking pictures, and someone pulls along the side street and hollers at me, do you know what happened at the Come and Go? And I'm figuring that they're expecting me to tell them, and I'm like, I don't know, I was just on my way home, and I came over the bridge and saw this, and they were like, yeah, apparently a guy went in and shot a bunch of people and shot a police officer and everything. And then of course it was later on
Good
that
evening.
I found out
The time is
that there was a police
11 o'clock
officer who had been
p.m.
killed while trying to
Weather
help
conditions
other people.
mostly
And
clear.
I think the
Temperature
last that we had heard, the
69
gunman
degrees.
got shot and killed. I'm unclear whether he shot himself or if someone else had shot him. Two Come and Go workers had been shot, one killed. We're thinking the other one might have possibly died later on at the hospital. And I think there was, 4 or 5 other people that were killed. It was just weird.
Yeah, that was weird. And what led up to it was weird.
It almost... Yeah, and I never have heard anyone say a potential motive. Just apparently the guy started randomly shooting around Lone Pine and Battlefield, had shot around several different places in between there and here, and ended up at the Come and Go.
Yeah. Yeah, he was kind of on a tear. It was crazy.
I kind of tend to agree with Patty. I think he was either drunk or high, may have had a mental issue, or he just is like, I don't care, I'm gonna do what I want. If the cops shoot me, let them shoot me. Could have possibly been a suicide by cop too, but why do you have to take out other people at the same time?
Yeah, that's something I never even understood.
I don't either, and I guess unless you're in that position, you don't know what's going through their mind, what their thought process is. But it's like people that are like, I'm done with life. If I can't be happy and I can't have a happy life past this, no one else is. So they kill their spouse, they kill all their children, they may possibly kill other members of their family or friends, and then themselves. And I'm like, not that I think it's an answer, but if you feel so bad that you feel like you have to take yourself out of the world, just do it yourself. Don't hurt anyone else. Don't take that option of having a further life away from someone else. I don't know. That's just the way I think about it.
Yeah.
You didn't know that things were going to get deep other than the weather tonight.
So I'm kind of curious. This kind of looks like nothing really is going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and there seems to have been a mass exodus from the chat room.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we did have a discussion topic for Not Live, so we want to do that. I think we're just all going to get wet.
We can.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the only thing that's going on is that stuff down southwest of Mountain Home, and I mean it's got a little ways to go before it gets to the state line, but I've not heard anything in chat about Springfield saying anything about watching it or continuing on once it hits the state line.
I guess my only concern is we read the mesoscale discussion. They're anticipating still a little bit of strengthening. So, what do you think about that?
The Queen responded, and she had a busy night, and they're gonna pretty much fall apart in about an hour. So there's really nobody has any concerns. No extension of the watch. And that's gonna end in 30 minutes, so we're just gonna get wet.
It may be that possibly things have stabilized since then, or maybe they were anticipating this being down in, because they were kind of focusing, it seemed like, northwest Arkansas. Maybe they were expecting this to stay down there longer, and that's more unstable air than what it's got up here.
Well, we do still have that cell that's just to the south of Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, we got somebody back in chat.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, and that's the one that I was talking about. That's kind of around Mountain Home, Yellville, flipping, kind of curving back down towards Norfolk. Yeah, it's definitely projected the storm track to probably clip part of Ozark County and go into Taney County, but that's just what I'm saying. I am seeing nothing in chat. In fact, the last thing was at 10:43 was that aerial flood advisory for Barry, McDonald, and Newton County, and since then it's just been people going in and out of chat.
N0NWS
I have not heard
repeater.
them say anything about that area.
Well, then I guess to keep it uniform, Are you wanting to knock off about 11:15 if nothing really materializes out of that, or do we want to do it immediately? What's going on there? I mean, we're having some conversation with our
Well,
viewer in chat.
We'll give it till 15.
That's cool.
And I bet that they commented that was some pretty crazy weather going through. And like we said, not a non-severe thunderstorm can be pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are the kind that you like to sleep through,
Right, but the thing is, though, severe limits, what the Weather Service considers to be severe, what is it, 48 mile per hour winds? I think that's what I remember.
I thought it was 55. Yeah, I was thinking it was 55 or 60.
We're going to have to do our homework. We have 3 different things. 45, 55.
Well, no, I was just starting. But honestly, that's what I was going to say. I was thinking it was like around 55 or 60 miles per hour or more.
Yeah, I thought the threshold was right around 55 or 60. So yeah, we're in that area.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe was it 57? I don't know.
I'm digging it. I'm looking.
Google Ninja.
Yeah, here we go. Severe thunderstorms indicated by Doppler weather radar are cited by Skywarn spotters or other persons such as local law enforcement. A severe thunderstorm contains large damaging hail of 1 inch in diameter or larger and or damaging winds of 58 miles per hour or
58.
93 kilometers per hour or greater. So these warnings are currently issued on a polygon basis and are usually issued for a duration of 30 minutes to 1 hour and can be issued without a severe thunderstorm watch being already in effect. So you do have the particularly dangerous situation severe thunderstorm warning issued within the initial severe thunderstorm warning as a complete reissuance of the previously issued warning. A PDS severe thunderstorm warning indicates a significant severe thunderstorm has been detected by Doppler radar and or observed by Skywarn spotters or other civil defense personnel and is moving into and through a warned area with the capability of causing significant property damage and severe injury or fatality to people or animals caught in the storm's path. Let me get to the real thing here. Winds greater than 80 miles per hour or extreme hail of 3 inches in diameter, which I think that's considered tennis ball sized.
Maybe.
3 inches is big.
You'd
be standing at your door looking at 3 inch hail thinking I'd like to go get one, but if you go out there, one of them's going to get you. And they hurt a lot.
Hold on, let me pull up my little chart here.
But you have to ask yourself, do you really see a PDS thunderstorm warning very often? Because we've seen PDS severe tornado warnings. We knew that, but a PDS thunderstorm, just don't see that often, do we?
No.
So this one that
Pretty
I'm
rare.
looking at is saying a tennis ball is 2.5 inches, a baseball is 2 3/4, and 3.8 inches is a softball. Now I've got another chart here. Real quick. Let me look and see what this one says. Okay, it says I don't know that I would necessarily use this one, because it's not quite as uniform sizes, but it's saying 3 inches a large apple and a softball 4 inches, a baseball 2.75. So it's somewhere between a baseball to a softball size.
That's big. It
is
catastrophic to cars. Oh my gosh.
I've never seen one in
Houses.
person, and I've never heard of one around here but I have seen photos of other places in the country within the last couple of years where they've had basically close to bowling ball size hail. And what you have to envision, it's not all one solid hailstone. It's like 4 or 5, like tennis, baseball, softball size stones kind of frozen together to make a much larger one. And just a little bit of an update. We had someone from media ask what they were thinking about, and in fact they just answered, what they were thinking about the Warn cell down in Arkansas. Replied that they were in the process of drawing up a severe thunderstorm warning now, and they just posted that. So I'll be right back.
Oh.
So it appears that that's starting to ramp up a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to stay together until after 12.
So let's read into this the same as he does.
Well, you don't have to.
Sierra RSJ with Southwest
It's
Missouri
coming through.
Regional Skywarn. The National Weather Service in Springfield has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Ozark and Taney counties until 12:15 a.m. At 11:11 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along the line extending from near Arcana to near Price Place to near Ozark Isle to near Lead Hill, moving north at 50 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and hitting-size hail. This is radar indicated. Expect damage to roof sites and trees. Locations impacted include Lake Taneycomo, Bull Shoals Lake, Norfolk Lake, Forsyth, Merriam Woods, Gainesville, Taneyville, Theodosia, Pontiac, Wasola, Sundown, Brixley, Willholt, Tecumseh, Parasite, Udall, Hardinville, and Pro Tem. Torrential rainfall is occurring with these storms and may lead to flash flooding. This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn.
And I am back.
I've been in Wasola before.
I have heard of it, but I've never been there.
Not.
So, did you guys hear earlier about that? The Army Corps of Engineers is talking about emergency water releases along the White River dams?
No, I didn't hear anything official. What's going on?
Yeah, well, I guess just from all the recent rain and everything, they're talking about opening up extra floodgates. I guess at the dams along the river. So I'm assuming that would include Table Rock, Bull Shoals, Parasite, Taneycomo, all of those. I would assume all through there. I know, was it Patty had posted the other day on her Facebook page, I think it was, of a picture where Parasite, I mean, both sides of the dam, the water was like within a couple feet of the top of the dam where, what is it? Is it Taneycomo and Bull Shoals that come together at Parasite?
Parasite is Taneycomo and Bull Shoals.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Taneycomo up and Bull Shoals below.
Okay, so it's almost to the point where if the water goes a little bit higher, like Taneycomo's just going to run right into Bull Shoals because the top of the dam is going to be under the water. Which I thought was interesting. Although, see, I know Parasite, I think it's kind of a smaller dam. I don't know. How are they set up for being able to release flood water?
They have an inflatable top.
Okay.
So they can lower the dam height by 6 feet.
Up and down.
I think it's about 6 feet. It looked like that.
Oh, okay.
But
so what they probably would do in all likelihood is lower down the top of the dam to let excess water flow over the top.
see,
Or am
yeah,
I mistaken?
Parasite is a flow over the top version. It's not.
Okay.
It doesn't have gates, so
They don't have gates like Table Rock.
right.
Gotcha.
So Patty sent me a picture of the driveway in front of her work, and apparently somebody left a washing machine in the driveway.
Oh, nice.
And My first thought
I
was
don't have anything quippy to say about that.
curb alert. Get it on Craigslist. Curb alert.
I can't remember where it was we were at the other day. Someone had just, in the middle of a parking lot for someplace, had just dumped a sofa. I mean, take it to the DAV, take it to Yoto, take it to Red Racks. They will take it in and not charge you a penny for it.
Curb alert. We
Don't just dump it.
Patty and I got word that up in Pulaski County, which is Waynesville, they've got some pretty great places to go look at the turning leaves in the fall. So that's what we did.
Oh, I bet.
And actually, we followed some deer down the road. It's a gravel road, dirt road, for probably 100 yards. And I had the camera going, and we'd creep ahead, and they'd look at us, and then they'd walk, and it was fun. But we encountered this road, and there must have been 5 or 6 sofas that were thrown out there. It's like, so this is where you go in Pulaski County to get rid of your sofa.
Probably.
You're entering wild sofa country or something.
Although, kind of taking a detour with the deer, that was one thing that we used to love about the house down at the lake, because it was in a subdivision that had like a little 9-hole golf course, and then on the backside of the golf course was a little small grass airstrip. So, like little small single engine, maybe 2-engine small, passenger planes could land, but nothing big like a big commercial jet or anything like that. Some of the greens for some of the holes were coming in from Cheltenham or wherever we'd been. We'd come around a curve, and as our headlights just swept across the green, there'd be like 7, 8, 9, 10 little sets of eyes. And when the headlights got on them, you would see deer on the greens of the holes for the greens for each of the different holes. Added to that, my grandparents had grapes, some garden, a garden with typical stuff, like potatoes, maybe some squash, zucchini, tomatoes, green peppers, some lettuce, stuff like that. But they also had some flowering, well, not flowering. I guess the flowering would be the ones that just get the buds. They had fruit trees that actually bore fruit. They had some kind of apples. I can't remember what they were. They had Bartlett pears. They had plum trees. So you'd wake up in the morning and you'd look out potentially any window of the house, and you'd see deer grazing here, deer grabbing up to get an apple. It got to the point where they refused to put up an electric fence, but I think they ended up putting up like a 8-foot or 10-foot high metal fence around the garden area. Otherwise, the deer would eat it bare. They'd strip it bare.
So, Franklin, or Rodney,
yes,
you see the little supercell up there, and it is, I'm going to say, between Houston and Marshfield.
Okay.
It's right at the,
I see.
Right at the top edge of
that county.
That's
Wright County.
Wright County, yeah.
Yeah. Getting ready to go into Laclede.
Right. What's the velocity look like on that?
Let me get this loaded up.
Nothing.
No.
It's not even going up.
It's got a pretty little hook to it, but
Yeah, it does. But I'm showing all green around there. I'm not really seeing any red.
yeah.
Now you get up a little bit further, closer towards Lebanon, a little bit south of Lebanon. they start turning red, but not really anything that really looks like really rotation or anything. I think it's
Right.
just the winds change directions.
Yeah, this is really. I mean, we're popping up storms because of the higher dew points. I mean, basically what happened was our dew point was near a 70-degree range, and our ambient temperature has dropped down to 67. And so we're going to get condensation all over the place, and it's going to generate some storms.
Yeah, I knew they had said that the dew points were up closer to like upper 60s, low 70s earlier in the day. I just didn't know if they still were or not. And it looks like there's a little cell right around Mansfield.
Right.
Little group of stuff between Fordland and Diggins, but doesn't really look like anything real super much.
And see, that's kind of fallen outside of the range of the watch that was issued, which they're gonna expire.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about them saying anything about extending the watch.
And a lot of this is filling in. Yeah, I better get your boat ready because it's going to be a downpour.
Yeah. Now, what I am seeing here in chat, not quite 10 minutes ago, they were saying that Little Rock had let them know that they were receiving some reports of some tree limbs and power lines down along the leading edge of that line. Yeah. That's crossing into southern Missouri right now. So they were just asking if anyone had any reports on that. And they did have a report of some damaging winds approaching Pro Tem, but that's the only thing I've heard out of that.
Yeah, and that would be Pro Tem is just what I told you about taking the motorcycle and doing the ferry across Bull Shoals. That's just north of that ferry on 125.
Yeah, I was thinking it was there in that area, kind of just a little east of Branson and Forsyth. In fact, it's not coming up on my map, but that is the one thing that I do like about Radar Scope is I can just put it in. And it'll come up here in just a second. And add the location, and it pops up right there. And yeah, just south of Reuter, kind of between Reuter and Diamond City, kind of. And that is kind of an area where it's got a lot of heavy rain. And yes, I am seeing right here on radar, it's a really bright, that kind of bright, almost like bright seafoamy green, almost a whitish green color on Radar Scope. And if I go get my inspector tool, yeah, that's 50, 60, 63, 69 mile per hour wind, 70 in one spot. So you're talking about between upper 60s to low 70s on wind speeds. And again, just kind of a reminder, you guys probably remember, but just to remind the viewers, normally most radar programs, the velocities, they put in kilometers per hour because that's just the way that they do it. That's kind of the standard with the Weather Service. But I'm assuming Radar Scope goes ahead and converts those because when I actually bring them up with my inspector tool, it specifically says MPH or miles per hour. So I'm assuming they're doing conversion on the back end.
Yeah, that little thing doesn't have the velocity to support any kind of tornadic activity. And I didn't honestly
doubt it.
Look at what our trying to say the word holicity or the shear just isn't going to support much tornadic activity tonight.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean that you couldn't still get damaging straight line winds out of it.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, here, what was it, a week or two ago, all that storm damage that was up around Lebanon, people were thinking it was a tornado. It was not. It was very strong straight line winds of around 90 miles per hour.
And they were all incensed by the idea that it wasn't a tornado. It's like,
yeah, I know.
What difference does it make? The wind blew it over.
Yeah, well, and I mean, even going back to whenever I was a little kid, back in the mid '80s, there was always this debate between, was it a tornado or straight line winds? And everyone was like, well, couldn't be straight line winds. Straight line winds can't cause tornadic level damage. Then we found out, oh, yes, it can.
Yes, it can.
Yeah.
There was when I worked at cable, there was up on AA Highway. There's this horse ranch, and it's just to the east of H Highway, which is Glenstone. And we had a big storm blow through there, and it took some power poles down. But more importantly, there was a whole row of trees along the fence of this horse ranch, and it blew them all over the same way. And people was like, "Oh, that was a tornado," and I'm like, "No, it wasn't. It was just wind, because everything blew over the same direction."
Yeah, and see, that's the key there. And I would not have known this really. Of course, it makes sense until I went and did spotter training. But when everything's in the same direction, that's not a tornado. That is straight line winds. It's when you have stuff kind of going in a swirling pattern, or you've got this stuff goes that way, that stuff goes this way, that's this way. It's kind of all over the place. Those could more potentially be tornadoes, but when everything's going in the exact same direction, you don't have stuff like something laying over here and a couple things laying over this way, or, you know, all the debris is blown in the same direction. That's straight line winds. And yes, they can. Now, they may not do quite as much damage as an EF4 or 5 tornado, but they can definitely do the same amount of damage as like an EF1 or an EF2. And kind of like you said, Steve, it's damage. Doesn't matter whether it was a tornado or straight line winds. You've got to put out money now to have something repaired or replaced.
You know, I don't remember doing insurance that there was any difference in whether it was a tornado or a straight line winds. I do know that if it's a hurricane,
I think so.
You have different coding
yeah.
in insurance than you do with just like here in the Midwest with.
Well, and I'm kind of wondering, you'd have more expertise on that than I would, being as you worked in the industry, but I just kind of wonder if that is just from the simple fact that a tornado is usually a smaller event. It's usually kind of confined to a particular area. It has a track, but as long as you're a certain ways off from that track, you're probably going to be okay. I say probably because tornadoes can turn and move and stuff, and they can change their tracks. But with a hurricane typically, unless it's a very, very small one, or, well, probably if it's up to the strength of a hurricane, it's not going to be maybe a tropical storm or a tropical depression. It covers miles and miles of area. It's kind of difficult unless you're mobile to get away from a hurricane. So, you know, you can't just pick up your house and move it 20 miles out of the track of the edge of the wall of the hurricane.
Yeah.
You can't move it from a tornado either, but unless it's just coming straight for you, it's kind of less likely it's going to hit you than a hurricane. If it's coming to your area, it's probably going to hit you. So is that maybe possibly why a lot of times you have to have separate hurricane insurance, and they don't necessarily make you get separate tornado insurance?
Right. I mean, like Florida, they have certain rules on hurricane coverage, and in fact, wisely, they've instituted building regulations that they should do here. Because it would cause houses to not be so damaged by tornadoes.
Tornadoes and stuff.
Because, you know, even though the thing is only a mile wide, it can exceed hurricane force winds. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Oh, definitely. Well, if you think about it, a Category 5 hurricane, I believe, I used to know this for a fact. I'm wanting to think it's somewhere around minimum of 225 or 250 mile per hour winds. Tornado can easily get well over 300 miles per hour winds. And if you think about it, I don't know if it makes a difference as far as damage or not, but you've got those 225, 250 mile per hour minimum winds stretch over 5, 6, 7, 10, 20, 30 possibly miles or larger area. Of course, more concentrated, more towards the center around the eye. But you take those same hurricane or those same types of winds and you concentrate that into an area in diameter of anywhere from a few feet to what the largest one is, 2.6 miles. I'm sure even at slower wind speeds, there's probably much more energy concentrated into that tornado than there can be in a hurricane. But you know, they're both very dangerous. They both cause damages and they both kill people.
I'll tell you, I've been around
a hurricane.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead,
well,
Rodney.
the thing to think about a hurricane is the rotation. I mean, the large rotation that you're seeing spawns tornadoes, which I believe,
Yes.
even though there's straight line winds built in that, but I believe those embedded tornadoes on those squall lines that come through a lot of times with those heavier rain bands,
Mm-hmm.
that's even more devastating in some cases, because not only do you have the heavy wind, but then you got that tornado rolling right through. So it's
Yeah.
almost like
It's like a double whammy.
exactly. Yeah.
And you can't see it.
No.
Many times, yeah, you cannot until it's right there. Because not only do you have the hurricane going, and you've got the heavy bands of rain and everything, but that's likely obscuring this tornado that's spun up, that's now coming with all this rain and heavy wind and everything, and it can easily get you.
I'll tell you guys, I've spent a fair amount of time working in cable, and every time there was a tornado in this town, I worked the damage.
Mm.
And it kind of makes you, when you see people's stuff and their lives all kind of scattered about, it kind of, I don't know, it does something to you, you know. When Joplin hit, there was a bunch of people from Teletech that were going to go help, and I'm like, I want to let you know before you go, there's some things you cannot unsee. And you know, it's pretty bad. I mean, I know this is part of life. Things happen, but I'm feeling stronger and stronger, like I'm doing a better job sitting here telling people where the weather is than going out there. Because I guess I'm kind of like you, Franklin. It hurts a little bit to see somebody's lives destroyed, and all I can hope for is I hope it turns out to be a silver lining, and I know it doesn't seem that way now, but, you know.
Oh yeah, and more often than not, it usually does. But you know, there's still some people that they're affected by it. Things that will never change, and you know, you just have to hope that, you know, it turns out the best possible way that it can for them, and usually most of the time it does. You know, things for the most part can be replaced or rebuilt. Sometimes even people that are hurt, usually they can recover. Even sometimes whenever it looks like people won't recover, miraculous things happen. No matter what way you want to think that they come about, they do, and that person recovers with you know, no permanent lasting injury or minimal. But yeah, it definitely, anyone who has any kind of feelings or compassion, or like you said, just a decent human being would be affected by it.
Yeah. Well,
It's the people who look at it and just are completely like, yeah, have absolutely no feeling about that whatsoever.
yeah,
That tend to worry me.
yeah. You know that there are still victims of the Katrina hurricane living in Springfield?
Mm-hmm.
They got relocated here because we had space. And they stayed, which is crazy, but they did. I met at least one, so I know that that's true.
Well, certainly our summers can't be nowhere near as bad as down there.
Oh.
I mean, we have heat and humidity, but they have heat, and they probably have regular basis way higher humidity than we have.
Tell you what, man, you never experienced rain until you've hung out in a tropical storm. Oh my God, it's amazing.
I'm
It's
sure.
like, is it gonna stop ever?
No.
Is that picking up speed down south? Or am I just imagining it?
I'm not for sure. I haven't heard them say anything about it speeding up.
Are we
In
referring to
chat.
the cell that's still thunderstorm warning?
Yeah.
Well, there is Boeing right here.
Yeah, there is some kind of in the middle of that kind of northeast of Reuter.
But it's looking like that Boeing is actually closing the circle around Springfield.
Maybe.
And
I really haven't seen them say anything about it in chat since they issued the thunderstorm warning, and then when they were mentioning about what Little Rock had told them.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I've heard.
And I guess kind of give you some perspective, the person who's joining us in chat. When we talk about a Boeing, we're referring to this kind of a push out right here. That's basically heavy winds that's pushing ahead and causing that precipitation to kind of move in a almost like a boomerang style look. So if we were to change to velocity, again, there's a lot of ground clutter, but that's really high and bright, so that would indicate fairly strong winds. See, that's 40, 50 mile an hour winds.
Right. Now, something to keep in mind too with that's up in the atmosphere over 1,000 feet. That's not going to be on the ground. That's very, very high up. So,
Because if we take this here and just
Now,
go
this
to
is-
Gainesville,
This is not necessarily rotation, but when you see brights like this, and if you see them like closely together in greens, then that could be rotation. But this to me looks like it's just really strong winds, right?
yeah, and kind of like what Steve was saying, I've actually got a tool on my radar where I can go from the radar site to any point on the map, and it gives an approximate distance and beam height. And if I take that all the way to Gainesville, which is a little bit past kind of where all this bright color on the velocity is, that's about 5.6 kilometers in the air. So
Jeez.
from the time the beam leaves Springfield, and this is on the lowest tilt, this is only a half a degree up. So it's traveling 69.2 miles to Gainesville. That beam is at a height of just a little bit over 5,500 feet. So that's not going to be anywhere near close to the ground.
almost a mile in the air.
Yeah.
Or a little over a mile. So, yeah, I mean, you're looking at the actual velocities up high in the storm, not on the ground. Happen to know, and if you notice how the road is not straight, Well, it's that way because that's really mountainous through there. And so the low to the ground winds are blocked a lot. So they suffer less of that straight line wind damage than, say, if you went to a place like Lockwood or somewhere where there's almost no hills to block things.
There's no natural cover around.
Right.
All right, so rain is starting to move into Springfield. I'm actually hearing it outside.
Yeah, I'm hearing the thunder.
Yeah, I heard the thunder. Not kind of one of those whoa thunders, but I'm hearing
Not yet.
I have not heard
No
the
whoa.
thunder yet, but that's
No
probably
whoa.
because it's fairly well sound insulated kind of in here, and I've got my headphones on. Okay, now we did just issue a thunderstorm warning for Christian and Douglas counties.
Okay, things are getting exciting.
A little bit. I'll be right back.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean tornado.
No.
You know, it just means that I guess the wind, and there's still a possibility for, you know, maybe some embedded hail.
Southwest
But
Missouri Regional
I think it's
Skywarn.
mostly
The National
for
Weather
wind.
Service in Springfield has
for
issued
the
a
most
severe
part.
thunderstorm warning for Webster.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Western Douglas.
Well,
and
no,
Cook
they're
counties
saying
until
that's
12
Greater
p.m.
than
At
75.
11:41 p.m.
No,
severe thunderstorms were
0.75,
located along the line extending from 13 miles
hail
southeast
stuff.
of
It's not
Forsyth
quite making the
to
hail
near
criteria,
Caneyville
but it's making
to
the
near
wind
Merriam
criteria.
Woods, moving northeast
Yeah, it's
west
definitely
at
hitting the
50
wind.
miles per hour.
And that's where
Hazards include 60
we
mile
go
per hour
back
wind
to
gusts. This is
our
radar indicated.
velocity
Locations
again.
impacted include
Yeah, see,
Nixa,
that's
Ozark,
that's
Sparta,
fairly
Highlandville,
strong.
Fremont Hills, Oldfield, Elkhead,
And again, we are
Winter,
looking
Selmore,
higher
Keltner,
in the
Christian
atmosphere.
Center, Rome,
So
Garrison,
It's much
Chancellor,
lower there in
Linden,
Clever and Nixa than it is further out.
Torrential
But
rainfall is occurring
still,
with
it's
storms
not on
and
the
may
ground.
lead to flash flooding. This is KDJRSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn.
This is
So
again
just think about it from a
0
perspective of if we're
NWS
seeing it
repeater.
at 40-something mile an hour in the air, what could it possibly be closer to the ground? You know, we have no way of knowing. That's why we have to use spotters to give us kind of an approximation. You know, if a tree gets blown down, the National Weather Service wants to know how big is that tree? Was
And
there a dead root, you know, system? Was there flooding in the area? I mean, there's a lot of different, you know, factors you have to look at.
Yeah, and kind of on that note, just as I was finishing reading the warning, ham radio operator did report a couple of 35 plus mile per hour wind gusts in Ozark with quite a bit of lightning going on. The location was approximately around Main Street and Highway 14.
Okay, well, zooming into that. So here's Highlandville, here's Ozark. This is inconclusive right here, but let's see, where's 14?
Be Nixa.
Okay, so there's 14 right here. And what'd you say? Highway what?
Main Street and Highway 14.
Oh, well.
Right
Main
under the
Street.
word Ozark,
Thank-
basically. It's right on the
Yeah, I mean-
square.
Yeah, I mean, 14 is Main Street, isn't it? No?
No,
Going,
Maine is like the square.
oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, I'd be down in this area. Which is, like I said, it's inconclusive. So, the radar is not able to determine what's going on there. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
and
There's a hill in the way.
A large part of the time, that's why we need spotters, is because either the radar just can't see it, or what they see on radar, it's just not definitive.
Yeah, see, we're not even seeing precipitation returns.
Yeah. That's a dead area.
Well, no, wait, are you guys looking at Ozark or Nixa?
Ozark.
There's
Nixa.
a strip that goes from, like, Kansas and... is that Battlefield? No.
Yeah, the report was in Nixa.
A track, well... I'm going to say Tracker Road, but maybe CC Highway. So you've got the hill, the big hill there on the south side of the James River, which has always been like a dead spot, that can cause radio problems. Whoa! So yeah, we're gonna get wet, like really wet. We've kind of had a hard time with spotters in the last 2 months, not being able to go out really. Have to wait for the storms to come to us.
Yeah, and I mean, even during normal times, we don't mind that, because you can get some pretty good information just from looking out your window. And you know, some people may not be able to go out and be mobile, and that's okay. You can still spot from home.
So Franklin, are you going to run both nets, or are you needing me to?
I don't know. They really haven't said anything about warning anything for Greene County yet. So I guess if by some chance, if they would happen to warn Greene County, I guess either I can do that, and if someone else wants to take over the regional, or I can stay with the regional and you can do Greene County or whatever. It really doesn't matter to me.
Well, if Greene County happens to be the only one that's being, warned, be fairly easy to maintain. But
oh yeah, I mean, as of right now, I could probably do both, and it wouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Do you need me to post, or?
If you want to.
Well, I don't care either way. We've obviously gone past our time.
Well, since we're going to be in a Greene County warning, this is what we're going to do.
Okay, hold on. Okay, that kind of didn't make sense, but okay. Just someone had asked, well, not really asked, had just said something about strongest winds approaching Garrison. And, oh, no, wait, I'm sorry, that's the same person. Okay, different question.
That's right where the rain is. They had to do a water rescue down there last time we had heavy rains.
Was that? Okay, maybe they just know who that is. Okay, I guess Greene County. I guess emergency management. I'm not for sure. It's Greene County MO EMA. Any severe potential for the line entering western portion of Greene County, and they replied, "Hi Wesley, not at this time." So I guess that's that on the western side, more around Republican, Halltown, coming up towards Willard. That would not be the line that's coming through Christian County right now.
So they're saying they're not anticipating
on the western side. That's coming up through Christian County. That was from the lines that were going through Ozark and Taney County. That would be more on the eastern half of the county.
Okay, I got you.
So we'll just kind of wait and see what happens as that gets closer to the county line.
You know who Skywarn 2 is, don't you, Franklin?
Yes.
Okay.
I briefly flirted with the ideal of Skywarn 3, but then I just decided to go with the Greene County Skywarn.
There you go.
I know this is going to sound terrible, but the thought was, well, I could do that, but then if I do that and they can't get a hold of Patty or Teresa, someone might then think I'm in charge of the whole thing.
I actually tried to do that once, and Patty's response was, well, you might get what you wish for. And then I was like, okay, no, I'm Skywarn 5 or 6 at this point.
Chicken.
I don't want that right now.
I'm not even putting a number next to it.
Oh, now they're talking about the flooding potential into Tuesday morning.
Okay. The new graphic cast.
Yep. Oh boy.
I hadn't quite clicked on that yet.
Are you going to share your screen to show that, or do you want me to?
I can get it up here real quick. I can't. I got too many windows open.
Do you want me to try it? Because I've got it open. Okay, hope I don't break anything. We'll go ahead and zoom this on out. Okay, so we've got the flooding potential into Tuesday morning. So tonight through in the morning, we're looking at the Missouri Ozarks region. Could see rainfall amounts of 1 to 3 inches with locally heavier possible areas. Now that's approximately in this warned area, which does include our 3 counties out into southeast Kansas. But as we have seen some rain kind of just out around the edges of this watch area. So the impacts would be periods of heavy rain and efficient rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour. Flooding will be a concern given the wet antecedent conditions, which we have had a lot of heavy rain in this general area off and on for a couple weeks now. So we're expected to see isolated strong to severe thunderstorms this evening and tonight, more likely in this yellow area of slight risk, but pretty much the whole area is under a marginal risk now. And usually we get most of our thunderstorms whenever we're in either a marginal or a slight risk. So don't let that terminology lull you into thinking, oh, well, it's going to be nothing. It's just a slight risk. Hazards, excuse me, isolated damaging wind gusts. We've already seen some strong winds on the velocity radar. Low threat for an isolated tornado. Often they can't completely rule out a tornado, so there is a slight risk, slim. Lightning and locally heavy downpours, which is probably going to be most of what our hazards will be with this. And localized flash flooding is possible. Be weather aware, as Rodney said earlier, and be ready to act. Have a way to receive warnings, and if you are in a low-lying area, you probably already should have a plan in place for if flash flooding does start, so that you can get yourself essentials, not everything, but essential belongings that you need to take with you and get out if need be. So tonight we're looking at 63 to 67 degrees, showers and thunderstorms. Tomorrow, 73 to 80 with scattered showers and thunderstorms. And I'll just throw this up here real quick for people to see. Being it is the beginning of the summer season, and I heard that probably not practicing social distancing, a ton of people turned out to Lake of the Ozarks this weekend. Boating safety as thunderstorms do approach, so use the life method. Life jackets on everyone. Immediately exit the main lake, drive into the back of the nearest cove, find a shoreline or dock out of the wind to beach or tie up your boat and exit your boat onto land as soon as possible. As someone who was actually in an event on Little Fellows Lake back years and years ago in a pontoon boat, this is definitely something to be aware of. There were thunderstorms forecast for the day. We got in a little cove. It was so calm and peaceful. We didn't realize until we were getting ready to go home. We got out on the main part of the lake, and believe it or not, Fellows Lake was whitecapping. So whenever you're in a pontoon boat, that's not the greatest of places to be. It took us probably about 30-40 minutes to get back to the marina area, which would normally have taken like maybe 10 or 15. The wind was blowing against us that bad. We had to beach the boat. Dad and our friend that was with us could not get it on the trailer off the main launch. We had to wait about another 30-40 minutes for it to calm down enough so that they could get it into onto the trailer in a side launch over by the marina, which I'm not really for sure was an actual official launch area, but we made it happen that way. So definitely do take it serious if you plan to be out on the water. And that's all I got.
All right, so the last few scans, I don't know if y'all can see this, but the heavy precipitation between Clever and Republic, that appears to be bowing just a little bit. So that would mean that the heavier winds are starting to kind of develop in that area, which is kind of what we saw moving into Nixon, Sparta, which is what indicated that to be a severe thunderstorm warning. Let me switch back to radar so everybody can see what I'm talking about.
It's fixing to get kind of exciting here in town, you know it?
Oh boy.
Yeah, look at that. It's the nothing.
The nothing. That's.
I'm not for sure if that shows up on radar, being it is literally nothing.
So, let's see here. This goes to 12:30. We're getting another scan. That is moving pretty quick, to be honest.
I'm curious, which overpass is that Kevin's talking about?
Grant Street.
Oh, yeah, almost definitely.
And good night, Midnight 4 Entertainment. Good to have you aboard. And make sure you are subscribed and you get notifications when we go live again. And apparently that's going to happen quite a bit. So thanks for being here.
So those both will. And, well, this will load. Probably not. No, I guess it did. Okay. I'm mumbling back here, by the way.
I'm on chat.
I see that.
So there's, gotta mention it, my hometown of Independence, Iowa, held the Saturday night races. And they didn't have many in the stands, but they had a good turnout of racers. And I guess it's probably a good thing they got a big four-wheel drive and a ripper, because that was the only thing that dried out the track so they could race. But
Really?
to be clear, the Independence Motor Speedway is a 3/8 of a mile dirt track in a town of about
No.
So that's less than
6,000.
half a mile.
Huh?
That'd be some darn good racing.
Yeah, these are serious boys when it comes to racing. Their late models are
I would prefer, just because of my allergies, I would prefer if it was an asphalt track. I mean, I do like dirt racing better, but all that dust and dirt and everything gets thrown up on me, particularly if you're really close to the fence, and the fence is really close to the track.
And that's the only way it's
But-
fun, too.
Well, I know, but then I go home from Monette and I'm like, and sneezing and trying to blow gunk out of my nose for, 3/4 of the trip back to Springfield. And that's after I already took allergy medication and a couple puffs of nasal allergy sprays before we went to Monette. I'm telling you, that it's not far from what it sounds like. That is why, and this is not a paid-for endorsement, that is why my favorite racetrack around here is the I-44 Speedway in Lebanon, Missouri.
You know, I've been on that track. I've driven that track in a street stock, and it is a blast. Let me tell you.
Oh, it's a fun track, and see, back during part of the late 80s, late 90s, early 2000s, they actually had it as a dirt track. It was not so bad for me because you're much higher up and a little further back from the racetrack than you are at like Monette or Bolivar. But they did here quite some time ago. They did put it back to asphalt, the last that I knew of. And what is that? Is that like about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile?
Lebanon is 3/8 around the inside.
Okay, so it's just under a half a mile.
It's a big track, yeah. 33 degree
that's fun.
banking.
Yes, it is highly banked. I don't think nowhere near as high as, say, like Daytona or Talladega, but for a smaller track, for like modifieds, late models, stuff like that, it is pretty steeply banked.
I've walked up it. See, there's a guy named Lester Freeby, and Lester was a big name
I've heard
in
the name.
Springfield racing back in the day. He's still around.
Yeah.
And he didn't have no pit crew on one year, and I helped him out. And as a reward, I got to drive the car. I did like
Nice.
20 laps at Lebanon, which was a blast. Oh my God.
Oh, I bet. Now, see, I'm sure, I just have not heard anything back because I'm sure they are not hiring right now. That kind of just right before, I mean, literally, I think it was like the week before the stay-at-home order for Springfield and Greene County went into effect. I put in, an application to be a photographer up at Bolivar, and I kind of would like it if that would come through, but I don't know if it will for this season or not.
We have a dirt track guy on that.
I saw that.
We had to.
Parent,
To be clear, we allow all kinds on here when it comes to racing.
apparently, he did not like me talking about
Yeah.
I-44.
Apparently, you don't want anything to do with asphalt. That ain't racing until you're on dirt. dirt race.
Honestly, particularly for the smaller tracks, it is funner to watch if it is a dirt track. The only reason that I prefer the asphalt tracks over dirt is just because my allergies go haywire.
Dude.
I mean, they really honestly do.
Talladega. That is the most amazing thing, to see 43 cars come by you at 200 miles an hour. Oh my God!
I thought Memphis was impressive, and that was, I forgot what they were calling it at the time. That was what used to be the Busch Series. I can't remember what they call it now. But,
is that at Memphis Motorsports Park?
Impressive. Yes, the one that was just north of Memphis. We went in 2006 and 2007, and I guess it was just a little bit shortly after that they actually closed it down. They had I think it was like a 3/4 mile asphalt track, and they had a little drag strip next to it.
Little.
And the funny thing, well, it was. But what the cool thing about it was it the first year or the second year? I think it was the second year. No. It was the year that Casey Kane had won the Samstown race in Vegas, and the one in Memphis was sponsored by Samstown as well, because they got one down there in Mississippi, just like about 30-mile drive from Memphis. So they had a thing where if the same driver won both races, they got a bonus. So normally he didn't race the Busch Series races unless there was a Cup Series race there at the same weekend. And that was the weekend of Atlanta.
We got Green and Webster.
What's that?
Green and Webster just
Green
went.
Webster. Yeah, I'm getting to it.
Who's got the 6'4"?
I don't know.
He was going to handle both, wasn't he?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't get too wild.
This is the N0NW
I will be right back.
repeater.
This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn. The National Weather Service in Springfield has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Webster and Greene County
Or at least talk about dirt
until
tracks.
12:45 a.m. At 12:07 a.m., severe thunderstorms were located along the line extending from Euro Republic 6 miles southeast of Seymour, moving north at 40 miles per hour. Hazards include 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
dadgummit.
Are
I
indicated.
need to do my thing here.
Locations impacted include
All
Springfield,
right,
Republic,
so,
Marshfield,
yeah.
Southfield, Willard, Rogersville, Stratford, Ash Grove, Fairgrove, Fordland,
Thunderstorm
Walnut
warning.
Grove, Niangua, Brookline, Diggins, Elkland, Glidewell, Turners, Bogart, Cave Springs, and Greater.
As well.
This includes Interstate 44 between mile markers
So this is
59
our
and
Greene
109. This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn.
So, the National Weather Service in Springfield has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Webster County and southwestern
K0OLD.
southwestern Missouri until 12:45
K0RSJ, got a
12:07
copy.
a.m. Severe thunderstorms were located along the
Go
line
ahead.
extending from near Republic to 6 miles southwest.
Morning,
of
Franklin.
Seymour,
Heck of a way to
moving
spend the
north
day,
40
isn't it?
miles per hour.
I was just going to ask you a question. Does it look like that's breaking up a little bit down there, the stuff that's in Arkansas headed our direction? You got a better map system than I do.
Also include damage to roofs, sidings, and trees.
It
Basically,
looks
your
like
locations that are
maybe
impacted would be
kind of
Springfield, Marshfield,
in between
Willard,
Mountain
Stratford,
Home and kind of the Rogers area,
Fair Grove,
kind of
Walnut
halfway
Grove,
between there on down
Brookline,
south.
Elkland,
That it does look
Turners,
like it's
Cave
clearing off
Springs,
a little bit.
Republic,
I'm seeing some
Battlefield,
broken up stuff from
Rogersville,
about
Ash
Rogers
Grove,
to Fort
Fordland,
Smith. A
Niangua,
little bit more
Diggins,
organized
Glidewell,
around
Bodart,
Mountain Home,
and Raider.
south to Yellville and Norfolk, and a
That's
little bit
between Interstate
more
44 between
here
mile markers 59
south of there.
and 101.
At this time, the only thing that we
And
have
as always,
in
for your
the
protection,
radar
rotate
area
into
that
your
I
room
see
with
that
lowest
is
floor of the
severe
building.
warned is down
This has
around
been
Christian and I
a
think a little bit of Douglas
warning
County, and
issued
then
by the
the
National
warning
Weather
that just popped out for Webster and Greene County. So unless that stuff kind of intensifies and becomes more severe,
Man.
after that passes through, I think it's just going to be rain.
I wished I had something that would remove
QSL on that. I concur with that. That looks like what my little map system's showing here also. Anyway, okay. Well, hey, I appreciate you being out there, brother. And hopefully we'll see you at another one of the training classes there. We can torment Steve a little bit. K0OLD, and I'll be clear and monitoring.
No problem. Sounds like fun. I'll
worked
hold you to it. This is
Highlandville
your
Christmas
RSJ
Parade
Southwest
with
Missouri
Brian. He's a
Regional
pretty cool
Skywarn.
guy.
There's a meso detection.
There we go.
Sorry, I had some traffic on the 4-9, so I muted you.
You were talking to Brian. I heard you.
Yeah.
Woohoo. Gonna get exciting. I guess I can take the Outlook crawl down.
But anyway, to make a long story short, the race was fun. You were all like thinking whenever I said that, like, oh, here's another 15 minutes.
No, I'm sitting trying to get the colors right so that we can see the warning crawl.
Oh, I gotcha.
I can't.
Kind of isn't contrasty enough.
Are you talking about on
the live stream
crawl?
side?
Yeah, that's not working, is it?
I changed it to white. I think that's the only thing that's going to show. Or black.
Maybe.
Ooh, that's some good thunder. I can feel that.
Yeah, I just heard that a little bit of that. I think my headset's muffling a lot of it. That's why I've not been hearing it.
I didn't get a thunder yet.
Yeah, you're getting there. I got rain.
Gotta let the cell get a little closer.
Yeah. Well, if we were going to. The rain's gonna hit me in about. Let's see here. I'm in this vicinity. So, yeah. It's gonna be here soon.
I know. I saw that earlier, Kevin.
Well, Kevin, have you ever been to an asphalt track like Lebanon or, well, Bolivar's closed? It used to be open. I think the one at the State Fair is asphalt.
Probably. If they still have one and their people haven't let them demolish it to build a new grandstand at the fairgrounds.
I don't even know what Springfield was thinking. They had the last big race they had in Springfield was an ARCA race, and it was amazing.
Well, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this or not. I don't remember this. I'm not even for sure if I had quite been born yet. Or if I had, I was just like maybe a year old. Dad and Grandpa used to do the towing some at the racetrack. That was when we still had the towing business out at Stratford.
Yeah.
We recently found a few pictures when we went through some of Dad's stuff after he had passed away, and my aunt had brought us some photo albums that she had found, and definitely something that I wish, one aspect of the towing business that I wish that I would have remembered and been involved in. But yeah, they used to do some of the towing there, and one of the things that Dad and Grandpa talked about a lot that they really enjoyed doing.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I know they had seen Mark Martin come up here, Rusty Wallace come up here. I think I had found it after Dad passed away, and I think I may know where it's at. I can't remember. I think it survived the move to the house. I mean, from the house to the apartment. One time, Dad had a autographed napkin from a person that I've mentioned before, is one of my favorite country music singers, and either you or Patty or maybe both had said that Teresa and Pat both didn't like her. But Dad had a autographed napkin from very early on in her career, I guess. Reba McEntire sang the national anthem at the opening of one of the races here in Springfield.
You know, I don't think that was a didn't like her thing. It was more of a diva thing.
Well, that she's a diva, yeah. Yeah, and if you have noticed, Kevin was saying, because I was thinking it was, I knew it closed down at one time, but I was thinking it reopened, and I was pretty sure that was where I had put in the application for. Kevin is saying that Oliver reopened last year.
They did?
Yep, that's what he's saying.
Huh.
They're probably closed now.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
wanting to think of the three big ones.
N0 NW
Lebanon,
S
Monette, and
repeater.
Bolivar. I think Bolivar's kind of closed and opened back up two or three different times, I think. Now, there's also, I keep forgetting, and I can't remember the name of it. There was another racetrack up at Lebanon besides I-44, and I'm wanting to think it may have possibly been dirt, maybe? But I don't remember the name of it. I remember it's on the opposite side of the interstate from I-44, and that sounded like that was a fairly decent one.
It was big. It was here. It was close.
But I can't remember if it was before or after the turn off to go to I-44.
I think it was south of it, and it's a dirt track.
It may have been. That's kind of what I was thinking, because me and Dad went there a couple times, because I think he wanted to go there because it was dirt instead of asphalt. He liked asphalt better. I'll be right back. Okay, so is it currently asphalt then, Kevin, instead of dirt at Bolivar? Oh, yeah, definitely. You don't slide on asphalt like you do on dirt.
Oh, but you can spin.
Well, yeah, you can spin, but I mean, you don't curve quite as well as you do in, or at least I guess slide in the curves on asphalt like you do dirt.
Oh yeah, we had that discussion once at Lebanon. He said it handles like a dump truck, and I said, well, just steer it like a dirt car. You heard that, didn't you?
Well, I heard.
Yeah, what was that?
That's thunder.
Thunder, man.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I hear it now over here.
I'm
Oh, I hear it now.
Or I should say, I now hear it locally.
That's wild. I heard it going through Steve, but then it like reverberated over here. That's how quick sound can move, you know?
Yup. I shall be back.
Yeah, it's definitely coming down pretty hard out there. I use it.
This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn. The severe thunderstorm warning for western Douglas and Christian counties will expire at 12:30 a.m. The storm
I
surge
don't have a
warning
system
have
to
weakened
put
below
both
severe limits and no longer pose an immediate threat
radios
to life or
on the
property.
mixer at the moment.
Therefore, the warning will be
I'm
allowed
working
to
on it.
expire. However, heavy rain is still possible with these thunderstorms.
Oh, we got to talk about
KD0RSJ
radio a little
with
bit.
Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn.
Yeah.
I got a Elenco DR605, which is a dual band VHF UHF.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I got it was it stopped transmitting. And the weird thing is that it showed output, you know, like the S meter would go across, but it wouldn't come out of it. So back at the time, we made the assumption it was the power chip in it, because it's got a big output chip.
You said this is on an Elenco?
Yep.
Okay.
And you couldn't buy one of those for under $90 back in the day. And now, this was 2008, 2009 dollars. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it has languished in my garage here since that time. Huh. I got on. I'm going through my radios, okay? And right now my Magnum 257 sitting on the bench. But I did some research on that radio and I came across a YouTube video. And then an article in Repeater Builder. Well, apparently those power output chips had a problem that they were put on a copper heatsink material, and then they put a ceramic PC board glued to the top of it. It causes them to crack. And when they crack, they open up the circuit traces.
Yeah. So is it kind of like it's short-circuiting something in there because those traces are exposed?
No, just open.
Okay.
Just not going out. Well,
okay, I got you.
So apparently this has been a problem for a while. And that chip, the SAV17 is what it's called, is put in a lot of different radios, not just Elenco. Like the 741 in my truck, the Kenwood, it's got one in it. Same design.
Well, now, are they all implemented with this ceramic PC board on top too, or is that just an Elenco thing?
No, it's a Toshiba chip.
So this could potentially happen with any radio that this chip is in it.
Any, yeah.
Wow.
So the neat part was the article I found on Repeater Builder told how to fix the chip.
Oh, nice.
You pop the lid off and build up the circuit traces so they're just solder. And it fixes the crack. It jumps over the crack. Now, the one video I saw where he fixed it, he actually put a piece of wire on the trace and soldered the wire in, which is probably better, but just soldering it fixes it. And
so, funny thing happened with you saying that.
Oh, yeah?
That's what happened. Remember when I had problems with my ICOM, the one I'm using now as my base?
Yeah.
I was transmitting on a net one night, and it just flat went out, and there was no rhyme or reason. It was that transmitter chip, because when I took it over to Larry Lamano, he went and found it, and he goes, "Look at this," and he showed me the trace inside the chip, and goes, "Huh," you know. And so that's what he ended up doing. He soldered it back, and we had power again, and this thing's been running no problem ever since. But yeah, it was the amplifier chip or something that
Well, I hope that doesn't happen with my 746 Pro, although that's not one of the known issues I've ever heard about it. But if ICOM uses them in a lot of stuff...
Here's the thing. These are usually VHF, UHF chips. They're either one or the other. Well, on eBay, they're $22. $22 is it. I was just like, okay. I mean, I wouldn't be afraid to buy one for that. But of course, if I can fix it for free...
Well, yeah.
Why not, right?
Why not? And that leads into Patty's going to get that Kenwood that was listed.
Cool.
We're going after it Wednesday. So that's going to put her with a dual band Kenwood in the house, which means I can take my dual band Kenwood out of the house.
No, you don't get it back.
No, it's mine. In fact,
No.
I've got a dual band ICOM that needs to be fixed, but it needs capacitors in the head unit. Kevin says, get me a Yaesu. It's like, how many do you want? I got a FT450. We got two FT60s. What else do I have that's Yaesu? I've got...
Hey, if you've got an FT60, you don't need anything else.
I've got four Kenwoods. I've got three ICOMs, four ICOMs. I take that back. I got four ICOMs. Two of them are old enough VHF radios that they do not have PL boards in them.
Ooh.
IC22A. You ever heard of that one? It's crystal.
I think I've looked that up before.
It's a crystal radio. Yeah, Kevin, I was looking at brand new radios. What's the highest priced Yaesu radio you saw on the internet, Rodney?
Highest price?
Yeah.
Are we talking transceiver?
Are we one like new or brand new? I mean, used or brand
for
new?
$27,000.
Was that an MP9000 possibly?
No, this was like some freaking I don't even know. It was like, I don't know. I want to say it was either Kenwood or Yaesu.
I take that back. That's DX9000. I was thinking that I had seen a brand new price whenever they were brand new on the FT DX9000 that they were like around like 13 or 14,000.
Well, the new FT-DX 101D is $3,049.
That's the dream radio that
Jordan wants.
You know, that's gigaparts. I would sell. I got a pile of HF. I got two TS50s I need to get fixed, and I would buy one of the IC 7300s.
Let's see here.
All right, so they've now moved that into northern Greene County and Webster County now.
I'm pulling it up right now.
All right.
Think we should wake Lewis up?
Keep back.
No, he needs his beauty sleep.
This is KD0R.
If that's what it is, he's going to need a
Skywarn. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect
pretty.
until 12:45 a.m. for Webster and northern Greene County.
If you're watching
At
this,
12:29 a.m.
But he's not
a
pretty.
severe thunderstorm was located along the line.
Regina might think he's pretty, but I don't.
Miles northeast of Diggins, moving north at 40 miles
Back
per
to
hour.
business, Steve.
This
Back
is
to
60
business.
mile
The
per hour
National
wind
Weather
gust
Service in
hazard.
Springfield has
This
issued a
does
severe thunderstorm
include
warning
Interstate
that
44
remains in
between
effect
mile
until
marker 74
12:45 for
and
Webster
108.
and northern Greene County.
Continuous
At
ground
12:29
clouds,
a.m.
ground lightning is occurring with
Severe
storms
thunderstorms were
moving north
located
immediately.
along the
Lightning
line
is one of
extending
nature's
from near
leading killers.
Willard to
Remember,
6
if you
miles
can hear
northeast
thunder,
of
you
Diggins,
are close
moving
enough to be
north
struck
at
by
40
lightning.
miles per hour.
Torrential rainfall is
Again,
also
those
occurring with these
hazards
storms and may lead to
indicate
flash flooding.
60 mile
This is
per
KTRR
hour wind gusts.
Southwest Missouri
This is
Regional
radar
Skywarn.
indicated, and the impacts would of course be roof sidings and trees. And this is just continuing that warning until 12:45. So that's going to give us about 15 minutes. They are starting to see continuous cloud to ground lightning is occurring with these storms. Move indoors immediately. Lightning is one of nature's leading killers. Remember, if you can hear thunder, you are close enough to be struck by lightning. Torrential rainfall is occurring with these storms and may lead to flash flooding. Do not drive your vehicle through flooded roadways. And that basically means turn around, don't drown. This has been a warning issued by the National Weather Service.
We've had a water rescue in Garrison in the last week or so. We don't need no more.
No mo.
No more.
No mo.
No mo for show.
Which one do you have? Do you have the DX FTDX 3000?
I do.
That's $1,679.95 on Gigaparts.
You were saying about the 101D. Universal has got it currently with a minus $200 instant discount at $35.99, and for the 101 MP with that same instant $200 discount, $46.99. I can't remember.
If there's a discount.
Well, it's like an instant rebate.
I would think if you were going to go Yaesu, the FT991 would be the one to have, because it's got HF6, 2, and 440.
70. 70 centimeters, 440.
And it's 1100.
Yeah, and I can't remember what the difference was. Now, looking here real quickly without reading through the whole thing, the MP has 100 watts more power built into the radio without having to use an amplifier. But I was thinking that there was another reason that Jordan said that he would prefer the MP version, but I can't remember what that was.
Is that what he wants, is the 101?
Yeah, I think it's the 101 MP. That's the one he's been talking about for over a year, going back and forth on whether or not he wants to get one.
What does he have now?
5,000.
Those are like $3,400 new.
Yeah.
I don't see him on here.
Here, let me go back here.
Has it been discontinued?
No, they still have a version going. Oh, well, you know what? Maybe, possibly. Because I do think that he said that the 101 was supposed to be the new flagship, because what I'm seeing here on Universal Radio is they used to have one version of the 5000 that was still in stock. But it's saying everything is discontinued except for the DX5000 LT, and it just says not currently stocked. So there's no price listed.
If this rain ever stops, we might be able to get up on the Hammond's building so we can get our thing up and running.
You know, he could get that thing put in. He said he could do it in a day. He just needs a day to do it.
A day, yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't have a problem with just sticking a mag mount on the daggum roof for a moment so that we can make sure it works. But I'm having trouble putting together what I think is a good sled for that big antenna we got. I think we just ought to mount it where the old one is on the mast, and then I'll build a small sled for the UHF antenna.
Now, kind of in conjunction with that you're discussing, I don't know if you had seen it and maybe already mentioned it while I was reading warnings. Kevin had asked if we have a 440 repeater here in town.
You know, that depends whether it gets used. I've got one, 444-825, here, and it works. I don't have a radio here to key it up, but
yeah, I think I've tried to get into it, not since we moved to the apartment, but before we moved from the house, and I just never seem to be able to key it.
It doesn't have the tallest antenna in the world. I mean, it's better than it was. I've got a Motorola 2500 portable repeater on it right now, but that's kind of not why I put it in. I put it in to do All-Star, and it kind of fell apart on me a little bit.
Yeah. Because I know you were talking about one time switching the 9.1 over to All-Star from Echolink and possibly doing All-Star on the 6.4.
Yeah. If we get... I could put Echolink with a Raspberry Pi up on the 9.1, and that would just solve that problem right away. Just done.
Yeah.
The 6.4 is another game because we'd have to do some kind of mobile data plan. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I don't really know anybody that does mobile data. Do you, Rodney?
Oh, I might.
Well, I was going to say, I think the cellular companies still do it. I just don't know how much they do it or for what they would charge it for.
Well, can it be maintained on a low bandwidth? Because they have unlimited for 600
N0NWS repeater.
You know, I'm going to tell you that the Echolink use is going to be real little.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest, easily, support that then.
The biggest time that I think it gets used, from what I am aware of, is Tuesday nights during the Christian Fellowship Net.
And that's not a real high use data. I mean, I questioned Adkins about the DMR use, and it's like maybe 2 gig a month at the most for everything.
Yeah.
That's not very much.
No, it isn't.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still kind of anxious to get our other one up and running just to see how well it will do.
It's gonna be a monster on 440.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna sit here and not take the blame partially for this not happening, because I just have had other irons in the fire, as they say. But you know, but we need to get
also kind of as a club, we've kind of have specifically said kind of what we want to do, but we've kind of been up in the air on do we really want to go Avenue A or Avenue B? So, I mean, I don't really think that there's necessarily any one person to blame. It's just, we just haven't got it done.
I mean, the club decided against doing the new repeater in lieu of getting a tower, a trailer.
A trailer. Well, yes. So then the whole thing was, were we going to go ahead and roll with this one? Or were we just going to put that on hold and so on? And I got some traffic, so I'll be back.
Go ahead, Gene.
I'm putting the word out.
Yeah, I'm going to shut this down. This was pretty much a bust out here tonight. We had maybe between 5 and 10 mile an hour winds when the line came through, and light rain. We got a moderate rain falling right now. No wind, maybe 1 or 2 mile an hour, just a light breeze. So I don't figure anything's going to happen, so I'll put her to bed. Have you a good night. K0DGR.
You might.
Oh, that's no problem, Gene. Yeah, most of the heavy rains.
I've got a pretty fair-sized antenna, but it's not a good all across town thing. But you never know.
So
Well,
I
didn't
think
you
that
and I
would be
try
good.
Simplex
Catch you later.
once and it was a no-go?
KD0RSJ, Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn.
But yours is a 440, isn't it?
Yeah, 444.825, negative 162.2. Or no, positive 162.2.
And they just expired our warning.
Well, so what's the frequency again? 444 what?
444.825.
Oh, okay.
And then positive offset and 162.2.
I'll have to.
This is KD0RSJ with Southwest Missouri
program-
Regional
yeah, I'll have
Skywarn.
to program
Severe
it
thunderstorm
into
warning for
my,
Western and Northern Greene counties will expire at 12:45 a.m.
That's the
The
only
storms
dual
which
band I
prompted
got
the warning
for
have
now.
weakened below severe limits and no longer are in
I'll
have
be
exited
perfectly
the
honest
warned
with you.
area.
That thing
Therefore, the
sitting
warning
for
will
a
be allowed
minute.
to
I
expire.
need to get it charged back
KD0RSJ
up.
with Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn.
Like both of ours and Patty's.
I'm not saying I'm getting rid of it. That's not going to happen necessarily. I'm just saying it's not getting used nearly as much as I had anticipated. But I'm going to keep it just because that's a little DMR radio. I mean, it is. I mean, granted, they got the 868 and blah, blah, blah. But, you know.
Okay. While I am posting, I think you guys were kind of talking a little bit about this, so maybe it's a little bit of a recap, but I have been thinking, you know, we're talking about getting ready to put this DMR repeater up, and I should maybe, you know, start putting a little bit here and there together to maybe get a DMR radio. What would you guys recommend that I get?
I mean, to be frank with you, frankly, what
Okay, go ahead, make fun of my name.
No, anyway, you know, I'm gonna get probably blasted for this, but I think those Bofangs that are now DMR are actually decent radios now that they're actually tier 2 and tier 3.
The new
See,
one?
I guess I did not realize that they were putting out a Baofeng that actually was DMR.
Well, see, do you remember, what's his name? Shoot. Jackson. Mark Jackson? Mark? Yeah, is it Jackson?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. N0CAL. He, yeah, calling you out. But yeah, he had one of those. And,
okay. I guess I didn't realize.
you know, it was pretty decent. I mean, and he went and got it programmed. I mean, he tried to program it.
So you would probably say you would recommend one of those over like a TYT or what's the other one? Is it Tatoya or maybe that is TYT?
Tytera.
Yeah, what's
Tytera.
the two big ones?
Anytone, Tytera.
Anytone and TYT.
I've got one, RT84. That is Radio Oddity, but it's also another name too. I can't say it. Here we go. Gotta look it up.
Google Ninja.
Google Ninja at your service.
Redivus.
Redivus, yes. Okay, I've heard of that.
Is it Redivus?
Yeah. So the RT84 like I've got is $86.99, which is a good radio. I'm happy with it. The Baofeng DM1701 is $109.99.
Okay.
Well, hey. There you go.
Now that's just a one price that I looked. And when I bought my RT84, it was the cheapest DMR radio you could get anywhere. And I got the cheapest clone antenna. So
DMRs are not known for their antennas.
This is KD0RSJ with Southwest
I got that
Skywarn. A significant weather advisory has been issued.
Nagoya clone for
Douglas,
$1.62.
Counties until 1:15 a.m. At 12:45
And it works just
a.m.,
like a
Southwest
Nagoya.
radar was
Ha,
tracking
who
strong
knew,
thunderstorms
right?
along a line extending from 12 miles east of Payneeville.
I should have bought 10 of
miles
them, you
north
know what I
of
mean? I could have handed
Place,
them out for
7
Christmas
miles
presents.
southeast of Gainesville. Movement was north at 55 miles
Stocking
per hour.
stuffer.
Wind
There
gusts
you go.
at
You get
50
an
miles per
antenna.
hour.
You get an
Will be
antenna.
possible
You
with
get
these
an
storms. Torrential rainfall is also occurring with these storms and may lead to
I can't do like Oprah and say, everybody gets a new car.
Clouds around. Lightning is occurring with these storms as well. Lightning can strike up to 10 miles away from apparent thunderstorms. Seek safe shelter inside a building or vehicle. This is KD0RSJ with the Southwest Missouri Regional Skywarn.
It passed through Springfield. Our warnings have expired. I think we can call this. To be perfectly honest, since nothing's really happening.
Yeah, it's
Fox.
already blown through.
Yeah, so
And
I personally think we should call it, stick a fork in it, whatever we got to do. Do our 73s, whatever, and thank people for joining us, especially our new subscribers. We want to thank you for that, as well as Kevin. Hey, we enjoyed you getting on there and chatting with us.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's always a good time. And again, it's important that you give us as much feedback as you can, because we won't know if we're doing something wrong or right without some of your feedback. So you are watching this, feel free to comment and let us know how you feel about, and maybe you've got some questions maybe we can answer down the way. In any case, my name is Rodney, and my call sign is K0FZ, and this is my 7-3.
go ahead, Franklin.
And I just want to say thank you and good evening to everyone who listened to us. Hopefully we gave you some serious weather news and advice, hopefully a chuckle and a laugh in between. And whether you're watching us for weather coverage in Southwest Missouri, or just because we are providing some kind of entertainment value to you, we appreciate you being there. And other than that, I'll say 73s to everyone. Best regards, and hope everyone has a great rest of their evening, and everyone had a great Memorial Day.
And this is Steve K0SPM saying 73. I wasn't expecting much out of this little deal tonight, but it turned out kind of exciting, so pretty cool. And glad to get to chat with a few on here. And Kevin, thanks for being with us to the end. And whoever else is watching, we appreciate you. Have a great night. 73.
See you guys.